Here we go. All righty. So I'm going to minimize, mute that. So, okay. Just wasting time on a Sunday morning. Still morning, right?
Yeah.
It's 11:15 here, so it's still morning.
And we have 5 people.
Oh, okay. We got people. We got an audience. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and put this over here because I can follow the chat easier on the YouTube side than the Streamlabs or whatever the hell it is. No, StreamYard. All right, what we're going to do today here, well, fielding questions, so I'll add a little minor entertainment value to this whole thing, is a downloaded template for a Mandalorian helmet through Alan Sinclair. He of the one of the most accurate sets of drawings of the original Enterprise miniature and other things. He's done a lot of stuff on his site. I don't know where this is because this isn't on his site, but he's done up templates for doing a Mandalorian helmet, specifically Boba Fett, because most Mandalorian helmets have a little bit of subtle differences. This is going to be kind of a dry run here, because the idea is you take this and kind of trace it onto cardboard to make it, or whatever material, to make it a little more sturdy. And you make yourself a cheap, but pretty, easy to manage Mandalorian helmet. So, let me go and get going here.
That says you only have 3.
Well, not that much happening here. Yeah. While we're doing this, I've go and field some questions here.
Back up to 5.
Yeah, well, people drop out for various reasons. Like, wonder why is this not happening? And I don't know what's going on with the camera here, so if it's looking for a green screen or something or what, I don't know. See if I can do something about that. There we go. That's the problem. I'd had the green screen switched on. There's no green screen. That's why it was searching for, so all the little dots are things that fit in the category of green. Okay, so that should clear shortly.
Okay, now you're back down to 3.
It should stop looking like I'm, being jammed by something. Again, just sort of, trying to find a little niche to, keep the troops entertained in this time of, siege. And this is basically just doing a kind of a proof of concept thing, see how it actually comes together. Right. Last night, they're on the Midnight Edge After Dark live stream there. Tom was mentioning a few, and they're swapping a few war stories of their experience working radio, and a lot of bristling. We have a format, follow the format. Then now to a certain level, while I understand the frustration level, I also understand the other level that usually there's reasons why we have this format, and especially the college station. We got this format because we're trying to teach you people. You are not professionals yet, so don't try the pro level stuff until until you're ready and you're graduating. And then your boss can worry about it. And then you're being paid for it. Maybe you'll pay attention. But I've been there. I did the student channel stuff, and occasionally deviated from the set format, and got suspended for it once. Yeah, because one of the few listeners we had was those at the front office of the department. And what I was doing was there was a news story I came across. There was a stripper somewhere, I think, and she was been brought up on obscenity charges, and she was, using a free speech argument to defend her act. And I decided a little bit of support thrown her way, so I made like two of the female DJs that were on that. They weren't there; I was all alone in the studio, but they're back here. And we're doing a little tribute. So I started playing the old song, "The Stripper." That one, and started hooting and hollering myself like they're really going, they're really doing a striptease in the studio there. It was like a minute and a half, maybe, it's a short track, and then went back to the music. Well, let's just say the admin guy at the front office was not amused, so I got a week's suspension on that, but it was worth it. Yeah. I was just becoming really aware of Howard Stern and some of his antics there. And I think the same show made a reference we're going to be doing, lesbian dilated soon, but there's little things you do in that situation, like act. This is back, 45. So hey, thank you, Matt G. All right, let's start. But this is, this was late 80s at the time. I was back in California, so it was like 87 to about, I was still there about up to 90, 1990. But I think I'd gotten out of that particular program by 89 or something. But I was still doing, doing the stuff, and we're still playing 45s at that time. So occasionally, and then it was very strictly for me. You played the, it wasn't prescribed this particular song, but you play, they were categorized like certain songs had a red sticker on them, some had a blue, some had a brown, and you were to play a song in that color group, and that's the way real stations work at at least at the time, where you have singles categorized by this one's new, this one's rising, this one's going down, this one's an oldie, Well, occasionally you'd come across a record where, like, the B side, frankly, was more interesting than the A side. Like, for a while, like Don Henley was coming out, and I forget what exactly the single was, the A side was at the time, maybe New York Minute. But the B side was a live version of hell, I'm blanking on. I got the tune in my head, but I can't. Heart of the Matter. And it was just, and a little spoken intro talking about how sometimes less is more. And it was just him and Tom Hamilton on guitar. And the nice thing is it wasn't the 45 edit. It was the album. It was the full song. Because I don't know if they still do this, but that, we'd have the album cut, which is the full song, and then the 45 cut, which is like shorter for for playing on your top 40 station. So it's shorter, so they can grab more commercial time, yada yada yada. But this was the full thing. And there were a few songs like there was the Cure. No, the Cure. The Cult had a thing. It's like. And then that one, I'm blanking on what the hell the song was at that point, but the A side is they were starting to lose their mojo, I think, at that point. But the B side was a live version of Love Removal Machine. That one I will play all day long, and twice on Tuesday, because that is just quintessential hard rock and song. Okay. Okay, and PewDiePie has a giant creeper computer in the mail. Okay. Whatever that is. Okay.
No, mom was showing too.
And we Scottish last time how not to cut your own hair at home. That should be fun to watch later on. So, but yeah, there's occasionally a thing where you just oops, I played the wrong side. Sorry, boss. Okay, so this is part of the upper dome. You fold it up, tape it all together. This is gonna take a little bit. But something a little more recently happened before we had to bug out of town. But we're up at KGNU in Boulder, and we're just doing something with me. It was during a pledge drive. We were there, or I just wrapped up a shift and something. I don't know. Forget why we were there. We were just there, and the Blues show is coming on. And the disc jockey, who was also the former music director, so she should have known better, was playing the live version of Janis Joplin's Ball and Chain. I think there's a few live versions, but this one in particular, I think I've got them Cosmic Blues again, baby. But it's rather noteworthy because in the latter part of it, she stops singing, she starts talking to the audience. Just about how things are counting, how reality is kind of going weird, whatever. And it's mainly noteworthy because at the point, and it's like even in scientific sense, people, there is no tomorrow. There's and again, this disclaimer, this stream is not for kids, not for young ones. So if you have sensitive ears, turn away now. But she's, tomorrow never happens, and yesterday's not. It's all the same fucking thing, man. And then go back into the song. Whoops, I'm back into the song. And she's playing this on the air. 88.5 KGNU, and
KGNU.org.
Yeah, KGNU.org, or actually, like a bunch of translators. And I kind of recognize it. I realize it's a little too late to get in there and warn them. Because if I'm trying to get into, oh shit, it's that track, and then it's like, and out over there, it's the same fucking thing, man. It's like, oh crap. Now, in the aftermath of that, nothing happened. It was like, because again, it's community radio. Anybody who's going to complain is not listening to KGNU. So that's part of the advantage of these itty-bitty little community stations, is that you're kind of you see, the FCC is not all powerful. They either have to be actively listening in to catch this stuff, or somebody has to complain. That's why stations can get away with a lot of stuff they do, because the only people who are listening are the people who enjoy what they're hearing, and they're not going to complain to the FCC that this jock did an F-bomb, whatever.
All right.
Or they played the uncensored version of, Pink Floyd Money.
Somebody else just joined in.
Ash and Jackal, hello. I mean, once upon a time, there were some of the larger stations, obviously, but it said they would just have a stack of hundreds in the program director's office, specifically to pay off the fines for when the jocks would do something naughty on air and get, and the FCC, someone would claim the FCC and they get fined. Okay, here we go. Here, we'll go away. That sort of thing changed after Janet Jackson and her little wardrobe malfunction, because suddenly it was no longer just pay the fine and have a nice day. That's when they started yanking licenses. Actually, I just remembered Linson at KCAL, one of the jocks. They were talking about the NBA Finals, and the one guy, I think Marcus, was there, got a little too into the discussion and talking, it was fucking incredible. Oh, sorry, and he apologized immediately. You just I mean, he came back about a week later after that. He compared it to, sometimes there's certain kind of things where it's like driving. There we go. Okay, yeah. Anyway, he when he came back, he kind of likened it. There's like you're getting a ticket for driving fast. There we go. Like driving on the freeway way too fast. There's two ways this could have happened. Either you went out on the road and you just punched it all the way down to the floor, and you're like, I'm gonna see how fast this thing. I'm gonna try and break a land speed record in this car. Or there's a thing you're just tooling along. A song comes on the radio, and you're really getting into it, and you just not realizing that they've pushed down on the gas pedal a little hard. So that's what happened here. Okay, he was in the conversation. He just kind of got in and forgot he was actually broadcasting to the Inland Empire. So,
whoops.
I think that kind of goes in a thing of like a certain in a scene where a certain element, like you want to drop an F-bomb, but it's like it has to be an earned moment.
See what Stephen Klein just
What does
said?
Stephen Klein just say? Oh, they gonna bite me. Okay, come on, man. That show is dead. It has been for
Yeah, considering that Jerry Ryan is now signed on to Picard.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan is already signed up for a recurring role on MacGyver. And again, just the simple logistics of the fact they shoot in Georgia. Okay, she can't just film an episode of MacGyver in the morning and then pop over to Burbank Studios later. I don't pop over down the street to do her scenes in Picard. No, she's going to be basically having to rent a house or apartment or something. Because I think her kids might still be school age. But yeah, it's also academic because at this point nothing is happening. Nothing's being produced. Let's clear that for a second. Okay, so back to this. Actually, let me see that again here. Because, as Mecca puts it, as long as the toilet paper shortage of 2020 continues.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's another T-shirt that showed up on superherostuff.com. Yeah, It's one of the social distancing ones. It
Yeah.
says will work for toilet paper.
Oh, yeah. That's what I should do. I should throw out some invites.
You try to get people to come in.
Yeah, why not?
What the hell?
What's the worst they can do? Ignore it? Okay. So let's just throw this out there.
You just gonna throw it on the stream, or?
Well, let's see. Figure out how this works. I haven't done this before. So this is all a learning process here. So, okay, we got that. So now we're going to go on to Twitter.
When Jimcock invited you that one time, he put the link on my Twitter feed.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to just... Okay. So send one to Mecca, send one to Mary. What the hell?
Well,
The same thing.
Them out to.
I'm just sending them out all over the place.
Okay. And one to PJ, don't forget.
I'll send them out, yeah. Whoever wants to jump on here. All right, send Mary one. Someone to Rob. Should be fun.
Hell, why not send one to Tom?
I'll get the Tom. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. Here we are.
If you get really bored, the big boss.
The big boss is most likely in bed, okay? He's in Norway, dear, okay?
Yeah.
So I never had any interaction with Andre anyway, so. Throwing to Rob Burnett. What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a trip.
And why not Doomcock? Okay.
Okay.
This is how we start building the brand, hopefully. What the hell?
Oh, boy.
Senator Gary. All right. Anybody else of note?
I suppose you sent one to the redhead.
Don't get snotty, okay?
Oh, bite me.
Like to remind you, we are live, so.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be enough for now.
Did you send one to her?
Yes, I did.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, actually, unfortunately, it's a large. It's actually, no, it's mine. Size too small, but that's the biggest he had at the time. But, oh, I'm still a big fan of terrestrial radio, okay? I still like to think, and despite the fact that KGNU generally is, institutionally wise, is about, pretty much a polar opposite of me politically. Especially with, since with the station manager they got now. He's this guy came up with, he was setting up community radio stations in Central America, where suppression of freedom of speech is not just they find you. No, they come in and they burn down your station and probably shoot you out front in front of your family. That kind of thing. So he was really in the trenches with this. And for that, he is to be admired and congratulated. Yeah. But also the fact that it's still very much an old style radio station with tons of vinyl, which is a big thing for me. Like, we've been gone. 2 turntables and still some tapes out there, and got the studios in there.
They better not have done that.
I don't think they would have, because one, that would have cost money.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how adverse they are to spend any money on the actual station. Okay.
Okay, got a question in there for you.
Okay, question.
From Daniel.
I don't really know Steve Shives, but I've watched him, if you know, and I do like his stances on Star Trek time to time. His political things, he's totally out of his freaking mind. But with Star Trek, I think he's got some pretty good ideas there. Now, he doesn't seem to have much use for canon, which is, we definitely part ways on that one. The fact that, I'm working on, or supposed to be working on a new edition of the Concordance with B. Joe Trimble means I should go ahead and order one of my Canonista T-shirts from my Cafe Press shop, but that he I'm still thinking about doing a response to that video of his. Why do conservatives see in Star Trek? Well,
I think you should.
I'm thinking about, but Andy Trick already came out with one, so I'm gonna check. I want to check his out first, see what points he made.
Yeah.
But in short, main thing is, you remember the term progressive. One, it really didn't exist much prior to current day politics, but conceptually, I think if anything, progressive used to refer to people like Teddy Roosevelt, but now it's been co-opted like liberal once. Like the term liberal in the classic sense really applies to the conservative movement nowadays. It's all about liberty, getting government off people's backs and stuff. Then they finally realized that themselves. That's why they stopped calling themselves liberals, because they were all about government control of this and that and telling people how to live and whatever. Like, that's not liberal at all.
Yeah, when Daniel's Hot Topic said something else.
Oh, now what? All right. Yeah, it's another one we're probably going to part ways on that, because. But again, Shives doesn't give a rip about canon. And of course, Picard is all about the feels and and the current year politics and everything else. And to hell with how it doesn't match up with anything. Some people just like the flashy, and pew pew, and and like to see things burn. So, but the fact of the matter is that the show is objectively bad. It is not well written. The character motivations are laughable at best. Yeah. So I think we're going to start with doing the dome here. And I'm not doing the keyboard much right here. Yeah. kind of a live build thread here on everything else. I think actually we'll start in the middle. Now, when you start in the matter, if you don't give a rip about what went on before, you probably don't give a rip about what happened in the last episode or 10 minutes ago either. As long as it's entertaining to you. The big thing is, we're not talking just,
Yeah,
God damn it.
something else Daniel.
All right.
Said.
Well, okay.
Steve Shives talked about the whole 25% different rule, and that was bullshit. It was so funny when he wrote Midnight's Edge and Mecca a new one. I bet they cried.
No, they did not, because fundamental misunderstanding. Well, it took a while to finally get everyone's heads around just what the hell is 25% thing, because this was established fact. This wasn't just rumor mongering a conspiracy theory. Thanks to John Eves, it was established with that little note in the thing about how, I think this qualified the 20. And he commented on Facebook that this was the legal department coming down with this 25% difference requirement. And turns out it wasn't so much legally required they do it. But it was legally required that if they planned on merchandising any of this stuff, it had to be 25% different than what was established. So it was voluntary on the production's part, but only because that's the only way they're going to get any money out of this thing, merchandising wise. So you got kind of a half-truth response, but also you notice that they shut him down real quick. Because John Eves also, he was part of the art team for JJ Trek. Him and Jeff Mandel. And he was right there when Jeff Mandel got fired for daring to put together a graphic comparing the original Enterprise and the JJ Prize. Just for comparison's sake. It wasn't any production, but he got fired for that because he was too attached to the old show. So Eves learned real quick, keep his mouth shut on this subject. That's the back of the front. Okay. All right. So that part's going to be. There's half the dome on the head. We'll put that over here.
Okay.
But Eves has been he's got to have been chomping at the bit for a while to say something,
And hashtag Gear 73 Adult Racing Team 73. I am beginning rewatching season 1 and 2 of the Orville.
Oh yeah, good move. We got ourselves. I'm. Like I said, I kind of got an issue currently with the fact that what I could use frankly is a new slipcase and cover, a new case for the Orville season 1, because unfortunately the DVD set was in the last Explorer when it had the big major accident, and the case was trashed. The DVDs are fine, and the folks at Hudson Video Games in the Oviedo Mall provided with jewel cases for the discs. And again, thank you again for that, guys. If anybody get back to them on that, but I also picked up the season 2 set at Walmart. I can't believe they're still trying to charge almost $30 for Discovery. Those took them quite a while for that thing.
Ruined Voyager series for instance. Yikes.
Oh yeah, Seven's arc has been destroyed.
Mm-hmm. And suddenly she's a lesbian? Weird.
Yeah, I know. It's she's a lesbian. She slams down whiskey, and she's a hard drunken motherfucker. Let's see. Join these together.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah, John C. came in. How much are you getting paid by CBS to do Daniel's Hot Topics? Daniel's house.
No,
Obviously.
Daniel's sincere. He's been doing this for a while. He's sincerely trying to, it's kind of a kumbaya thing for him, I think. It's trying to get it. Can we all just get along? But
yeah, he's a good guy.
But the fact is, we're dealing with quote unquote creators who actively dislike the fan base they've got and the material they're supposed to be basing this off of. So they really, okay, so basically, yeah. Right size.
I'm going to try and do this. Hope I don't spill anything. Oh, there we go.
So get that way over here.
Did you happen to send one of your invites to Anti-Trucker?
No, but I don't have his Twitter handle. Yeah.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it.
Let me see if I've got it here. I can dig it up here. Okay, what do you got? Whoops. Okay.
And John C. came back. I know, but
all right, yeah, I know. I know, but yeah. And that's one thing. When
Year 73 came back with another one. I wonder when season 3 of The Orville is coming out and exactly where you can see it.
Season 3 of Orville is coming out in September, and it'll be on Hulu. Going straight to Hulu, folks, because it's for the sake of the show. So, where would I find Anti-Trucker on here? There he is. And I think he's familiar. He's familiar enough with me. He might join in. I don't know.
Yeah. Hold on. Would be kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. All right, so send him a message. This is the first time contacting him.
Okay, and Richie Poole just said the Anti-Trucker just ended his live stream.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. Let's see if anybody shows up here. All right, now back to this. But I think a big thing, it's like, Star Trek was progressive back at a time when there was still a lot of progress to be made. For the most part, most of the progress has already been accomplished. But we're dealing with people who can't accept, yes for an answer. And they start harping on, they start trying to refight battles that were won 30, 40, 50 years ago. Like the equal pay for, it's like, guys, equal pay for equal work has been the law of the land since before Star Trek. Kennedy signed that law into effect. So you want to keep, fight that battle. You're fighting, something that's already illegal. And if there's someone doing it, then there are legal remedies to that. But we don't need another law, okay?
I don't suppose you asked Anna to come in. I don't suppose you asked Anna to come in.
I haven't, but I don't think she knows me well enough to.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. All right, now. Right up there. Okay, and this would be the back.
Man. Year 73 says, Hulu, darn, I guess I will have to get Hulu then. Hopefully I'll have smart TV by then.
Well,
you don't necessarily need the smart TV.
You don't need a smart TV, just a good web connection.
Yeah. good web connection and a DVD player with, with the.
Yeah, a DVD player with the Wi-Fi. Yeah, Blu-ray probably. I don't know of any. Actually, I don't really know of any DVD players that have web connection. It's got to be a Blu-ray.
Hello.
What?
Remember those DVD players we had?
Oh, okay.
Get, like, blue
All right. Okay, fine. I don't remember the Blu-rays doing that.
Blu-ray player did it too. And that was even before we got the multi-regions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing, folks. In this day and age of studios trying to pull back from doing, physical media, domestically at least, now's the time to invest in a multi-region Blu-ray player. There's a lot of stuff that they're not going to sell stateside anymore, or never have sold stateside. You can get them overseas. Like I've always debated Disney Song of the South. They won't even acknowledge it exists over here. But you can get it on Blu-ray overseas. Yeah. Oh, that can be fun. Colorado better than Florida. Well, it actually has weather, for one thing. It has seasons. The gas actually is cheaper out here. I know it's still around $2 a gallon. Over down in Florida, it's like $1.50 out here.
Not even that at some place.
At some place, not even that. Yeah, between the points I built up at the local supermarket and the crash shop, I paid like $1.29 last time I filled up. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm still remembering that one time we filled up at that Conoco near our old apartment.
Mm.
We had the loyalty card.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about just using points at King Supers. Okay, where does it go in here? Okay, I suppose we can start with the cheap one here. No, they both suck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oop. Huh. Biographics has a thing up about Hannibal. And Tim Pool making a point that, yes, we have to reopen the economy. Social unrest is here. Okay. No longer theoretical, folks. The natives are getting restless. They want to get out, go back to work. Like, in Florida, reopen the beaches. Jacksonville, the beach was filled within a half an hour, folks.
Somebody's asking which Enterprise is on your shirt.
It's the original, although it's from that Haynes book, so I got issues with the internal arrangement here. But
one guy.
Check out my Kingsland video, see how I think the engine layout works. I'll give you a hint. The big tubes, orange glowy tubes in engineering, they don't lead to the nacelles in my model. Hmm. Some Blu-rays are, a lot of them aren't. There's, and Blu-ray regions are different than DVD regions. Because DVD, you got A, B, C, and then Blu-rays are like.
No, DVD is like 1 through 6, and then
the Blu-rays are A, B, C.
Yeah.
Well, either way, there are Blu-rays that are region sensitive, but a lot of them, I think they know what's going on. They like some of the Doctor Who stuff. They know that they're got international fans, so they just make them region free. Which kind of tells me it's like, because actually, the TVs the way they are, we've got flat screen TVs. Like most of them are storage. One's in the back of the truck because there's no room in storage. But since they have to adjust between high def, standard def, and all that stuff, basically, back to when I was in England in the Air Force back in the 80s.
Back when you were young and cute.
NTSB and PAL, that was a consideration. So yeah, your stateside TV would not work in England and vice versa. And they did have TVs that could switch between the two. But now, a modern TV, the only difference is the voltage, and that adjusts internally. It's automatically internally just plug it in and figure. Okay, we're doing it this voltage now.
I think we have to get an adapter to plug in the multi-rater.
Well, for a plug, that's it. Because one of the multi-rates we have, it's got a UK plug. So it's had an adapter for it, and it now fits into the. Okay, so we got the cheekbone part. Yeah, that's a biggie right there. It's like the humidity and the lack of the. Okay. The back side here. There's gonna be some bend here. I was wondering, how do I know Steve Shives? Did Steve Shives mention me at some point or what? I mean, so yeah, he's a leftist nut job, but he's a bigger channel than mine. So any notoriety from larger channels, I appreciate.
I did end up getting a mention from Monday Matt.
Did I get a mention from Monday, Matt?
Yeah, one time when you sent in a question to him.
Why, yeah, I was just answering a question. That's not, that's not different from a shout out. Come on, damn it, line up. Come on. Yep, come on. Here we go. Okay, this is going to be, it's facing out, so.
Yeah, one guy said, I get all the unrest about the coronavirus, but we opened things up while we're still in the middle of it. What was the plan of closing up in the first place?
A lot of people are asking that question right now, though. It's like nothing's happening, guys.
And didn't you mention something about herd immunity?
Yeah, it's another thing. It's an argument because the little concept of herd immunity, it is a thing, which was kind of one of the arguments that was given to the president was just let it wash over, let people get it and get their immunity, and we'll probably fare better in the long run. But that also means that we're going to probably lose a lot of people because of people who just can't handle it. But so it was kind of the compromise thing, do kind of a limited shutdown. But basically the way it works is you get a lot of people get it, get over it, develop the antibodies, and they can spread the antibodies just as well as they spread the virus. And thus, you immunize the entire herd. That's how it works with cows. That's how it works with people, too. So if anything, all this lockdown stuff is only prolonging the inevitable, okay? And a lot of people think about, this is going to be a little more than the work and more worse than the flu. Well, the fact is we have lost more people to the flu than we have to the bug, to the cough, so And one of those rare cases where Bill Maher was, spot on with his complaint. It's like, we should blame China for this. They lied over and over about the nature of this thing, how transmissible it was, how widespread it was. Okay, that's good enough. That's going to be outside.
Yeah, make Grey Wolf say you don't spread antibodies.
Well, we'll see. But the thing is, I think herd immunity is a thing. So you spread something. Yeah, that's going to be that. Antibodies. Yeah. See if we can get this one better than another one. All right. Once Michael Burnham was the best, I said everything being the cure from the future. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, Michael Burnham will save us all. Here I come to save the day. That's the thing. I never thought you'd see the day when a large segment of fandom, I'm not going to say majority, but a large segment of fandom will be actively cheering for the immediate and painful death of a Star Trek series. Okay, whatever. Either way. It still requires as many people getting it as you can safely manage and develop an immunity to it. And by keeping everybody locked up, you're preventing that.
Exactly.
So, and the fact that it's a virus, okay? Saying that we got to keep it locked up until there's a cure. We're still waiting for an AIDS vaccine, okay? We're still waiting for your cure for the common cold, okay? Viruses mutate. You're never gonna, you can get a vaccine for it, but you're not gonna get a really effective cure for anything.
We've come to a vaccine for it, or the latest medication.
You got treatments that can knock it back down to undetectable levels.
Yeah, like Biktarvy.
But you still gotta keep on it because just because you can't detect it doesn't mean it's not there.
Exactly.
But it's low enough that it's not going to do any damage, at least. And there's also the thing that you can't let the cure, quote unquote, with the shutting the not letting anybody out, be worse than the disease because we're gonna. If you don't reopen pretty soon, we're gonna have a case of a lot of healthy, unemployed people. And that's the makings for a revolution, kids, okay?
Yeah.
And the way the current political climate is going, they ain't blaming Trump for this, okay? Because he's been out there out front encouraging to get out. Hey, we need to reopen the country. We need to get going on this,
Okay, and Stephen Glenn had a question.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, they are working on a reboot, I understand. It was okay. I watched some of it,
It was goofy.
It was a goofy show, but it's supposed to be a goofy show. I think do the top. No, I can do the side spin. That's indirect. I mean, basically, you drop a super suit on somebody who's really not suited to be a superhero. And to top it all off, he loses the instruction book. So
I think he's actually about cons too.
William Cat, yeah. I think he probably grew a whole new notoriety when those audition tapes for Star Wars came out, and he was one of them auditioning. I think they're primarily looking at him for Luke, but they swapped things around. They tried him for Han. They were just flailing around there for a while. The first time I come across it, okay? But that's part of the process. You get it for the first time. Maybe you get sick, but maybe your immune system is on the ball and it kicks its ass, and you don't have to worry about it again. That's the way the immune system works. Because novel just means it's new. We haven't seen this before. I see what's going on here now. Well, I might have to redo that other one. I think going back to George Carlin's thing about, like him and his friends, they swam in raw sewage. To swim in the East River, so they were effectively swimming in raw sewage, okay? And they never got colds, never got sick, because their immune systems are built up, because you need germs to practice on. That's how the immune system works. Occasionally need germs to wail on for a while and get built up. Yeah. Yeah, we're in Motel 6 right now.
Not Motel 6.
Oh, no, Super 8. No, numbers throwing me. Okay, these cheap ones are going to be a problem.
Yeah, we're at least in here until the 26th.
Yeah, we're here until next week. We have 1 week to go on this. If the Trump check shows up in time, then yeah, we can probably prolong it, but then we might be running into the thing of you can't stay here this long, folks. So there's that, but at least it'll give us some options. Now, how does this one work? What? All right. Yeah, it is a virus, okay? And so far, the fatality rate doesn't seem to be, going nuts here. Yeah. Current projections aren't that high. They're like maybe 20,000. And we've lost more people to the flu than that, this year. So, okay, these are going to be a bit of a problem. So, I have to redo those. And those. I have to put this aside as well. So, okay, let's look at this for a second. Yeah, I don't like going political, but as long as we're on it, we'll go there. When was he supposed to start putting the hammer down? Because Dr. Fauci made the mistake of answering a hypothetical. Well, yeah, if we'd acted sooner, we'd save more lives. But the thing is, we acted sooner than we didn't have any cases that were worth anything. It's like maybe 100 people total in the country out of 300 million. That's not enough to declare a national emergency. So to jump down on these things and going nuts, we're going to shut down the country. He would have been the dictator everyone accuses of him being. You can't do that, okay? And unless you have justification, and he could, So until there was justification, it's like we'll keep an eye on it. But he was actually putting stuff in place. He put the travel ban in place, and people were saying, "You're a xenophobic, racist, homophobic." Nancy Pelosi's out there saying, "Come down to Chinatown. We're fine." And really, ooh. again, the full resource of the U.S. government. One, there are limits to what the federal government can do, because it's supposed to, because I've seen complain, hey, throw it to the states. The state, he's following leadership. No, he's doing his job, and the governors are doing their job. This is a states' rights, the state's prerogative. It's not the federal government's job. It's the job of the states to manage this. The federal government's there to help, but it's the states that have to manage this stuff.
Unfortunately, our government was way.
And a lot of governors have acknowledged that. If you look at some of the stuff they're not airing, that little montage that Trump ran at the briefing was to make a point. No, here's what happened. And they showed Cuomo and Gavin Newsom. These people actively hate Trump. But they've been saying, hey, he's doing a good job. He's been responsive. They're sending stuff. We thank him for it. So all right. I think that's supposed to be support. I'm not sure I really need. Let's see. So that's another thing I run up against here. We got so many thousands of kids. We're a nation of 300 million people. Okay, you got to look at it per capita. And per capita, so we're way down the list. Okay, Italy is still way up there. Okay. Now again, not you. Okay. What is your solution? Send the National Guard in the streets and lock everyone in their homes like China did? Weld the doors shut? Again, we are the product of a revolution, guys. That's still a very, very big part of our national DNA. And despite Darth Bloomberg's attempts, we're still a very heavily armed civilian population. So yeah, you'd have a revolution in about a week. Okay. So yeah, the government can't just declare emergencies on a whim. You got to have justification for it. And until there was justification, and again, Trump has never claimed to be the smartest guy in the room, unlike the last guy. Okay, you had to wait until he's getting the same advice everybody else is getting, and everyone's downplaying it. All the countries in the world were downplaying this thing. I think the bear's died on that. Yeah. Won't even shut off. Okay. Hell, Italy, the mayor of Milan was doing hug a Chinaman thing. He's go on, find a Chinese guy and hug him, and you wonder why they're going nuts. Yeah. Yeah, Italy's really not a good example. That's why they're getting hit hard. They welcomed him in because they are afraid of being called racist. And we're talking, plague level, depopulation now in that country. Other countries that have, they put the restrictions on and think they're doing okay. And I think also you got to look at where the cases are. Like, New York is ground zero. That more than half the cases of this are in New York City. So you want to blame somebody for one of the cases? Blame de Blasio, okay? And you want to call somebody a fascist? He's encouraging people to snitch on their neighbors if they see something going on about it. Yeah. And Trump's the fascist. He's trying to release people from control. Okay, he's trying to get the government out of it. That's not how fascism works. Okay, it's the exact opposite. Yeah, quarantining people healthy is called paranoid. Okay. So we need get back. No, he never claims to be the smartest person in the room. He hires the smartest people in the room. Okay. He goes and it's kind of like years ago in the 80s when John Byrne did the reboot of Superman with Man of Steel, and he turned Lex Luthor into an evil multi-million billionaire. And yeah, let's be honest. He was kind of basing the inspiration. He was taking inspiration from Donald Trump, but it made more sense because instead of Lex Luthor being an evil genius, make him an evil billionaire. He can hire an army of evil geniuses, okay, and defeat Superman that way. And so, Trump was doing. He doesn't need to be, an expert on everything. He can hire the experts, and if the expert is not doing the job, he can fire and get another expert, and knows what he's doing. Well, let's see how to know who is healthy. Well, you got to give the people a certain amount of leeway to, determine themselves if they're healthy. Okay. Are you hacking up a lung? Are you running a fever? Are you knocked in here? Because I've had the flu, and it knocked me on my ass. Here's the thing: if you're not really at risk for someone who's going to get their ass kicked by this thing, really, yeah, there's I don't know, about 10 years ago or so, I was, caught the flu, and I tried to get back into work, and I just prolonged things. I ended up getting written up because I kept coming in and leaving early. So I better if I just called in sick the one time and stayed out. I didn't know how it worked at that time, but yeah, it knocked me in my butt for about a week, really, once I finally gave into it. But that's how you know if you're not, if you're not running a fever, you're not coughing up anything and you're having trouble, then you're healthy. Okay, I think people should be trusted enough to give them enough leeway to recognize when they are healthy. Okay, well, yeah. And if I were to get a job at, radio, broadcasting is considered an essential job right now. Although even a lot of stations are having the jocks work from home. So, but, the one of the things I wanted to do when we get back here is get back with KGNU. This is before the whole thing went weird, but people are asymptomatic. Well, hey, you test who you can, but you're not going to waste testing people who don't have it. If they're asymptomatic, they're probably, they're still probably, developing their immunity to it. Just because they haven't done the symptoms doesn't mean the immune system is not going overdrive, saying, "Hey, we got to kill this thing quick." So, let them build their immunity in peace. Okay, leave them alone. Leave the rest of us alone. You're going to shut down the entire country because a couple of guys aren't developing symptoms. We're back to the thing of the cure being worse than the disease. Because, yeah, you got people who
Didn't Stephen King say something about this?
Yeah, I think even Stephen King is, he put out he reprinted a chapter of The Stand about how pandemics work or don't work, whatever, Okay, I think. Not sure what I'm looking at here. Okay, I think the helmet build's only gone so far because this is getting confusing. So I got to redo those cheekbones. Put that aside. All right. Yeah, that's just general. In pre-existing health conditions, you stay away normal because it is, it's just a regular fluid killer. As yeah, actually, during World War II, it's like in World War I, stateside, if you're in the, unless you had somebody in the war, you wouldn't really know much difference. World War II, you had rationing, but beyond that, life pretty much went on. Yeah, if you're healthy and asymptomatic, it could mean you don't have it in the first place. And if you do, you're building up immunity. It's like, God bless you, go on your way and churn out those antibodies. But right now, it's like we can have like the comic book industry is now pretty much dead or on life support as it is because this little the Okay, that's a bit nihilistic there. That's straying into, Dick Lamb's line of, old people have a duty to die and get out of the way. But no. Yeah, Steph was pretty much isolated to begin with, just, before he even heard the term, very often. But for the most part, a lot of people are ignoring it, really, because the cops said we can't enforce this thing, a stay-at-home thing, because people do have to get out and about to do things, and they're not going to start pulling people over and ask, "What are you doing out here?" Because all they got to do is say, "Well, I'm on my way to the grocery store." Okay, get out of here.
Yeah, of course, if we have to go back to sleeping in the car, then that's what ends up.
Yeah, if the money runs out and we end up having, and we end up having to go back to urban camping, this could get really bad. But the main thing I'm thinking is that Howie Mandel is got to be laughing his ass off. Because those who don't know, Howie Mandel has been a major germaphobe for a number of years now. And I remember when he came on live with Kelly and whoever the host at the time, during a big flu break, and he was happy as a clam. You're in my world now, people. It's like, I was thinking, people, washing their hands and saying, "This is my world. Welcome to it." So, you'll enjoy it. Okay. And the other big irony is because everyone's wearing face masks and bandanas and everything else. We have the cleanest air out here in Denver and also in LA in our lifetimes, I think, and probably ever. Because, they're setting up tents, but they're not really using them because guess what? The hospitals aren't really overloaded that much. There's a few places, they're good, but for the most part, it's like the tents are empty, and they've been burying people in Potter's Field for, at least 100 years. So no real surprise there. Okay. The RV didn't work out, and just as well because I was having trouble getting into the damn thing before the accident, I think. And now it'd be impossible. There's no way Steph would be able to get in there at all. A proper size RV. So we, wound up getting another Ford Explorer, which was fine. But that was a bit of a nightmare because the whole point of buying it was so we could get a trailer and bring our stuff back. Well, turns out that U-Haul will not rent a trailer if your tow vehicle is a Ford Explorer of a certain year range, which ours is right in the middle of. So we had to get a full-size truck, or at least a big truck with a trailer to put the Explorer on, which added about $1,000 to the entire bill. So, I mean, if I'd known, hey, if you got a 2012 Explorer, they'll rent you a trailer for that. Well, gee, if I'd known that, I don't think we would have saved any money because I think the 2012 Ford Explorer would have been like $10,000 more. Look, let me check that. What the hell? I'm not doing anything. But let's see, look at Auto Trader. And let's go ahead and do it at Daytona because we're at the time. It would have been down there. When access denied. Don't give me that. That's because I'm signed in through Birmingham. Okay. Let me change the VPN. It's still going access denied. Let's try that again. Set up. Notifications at the wazoo again. All right. Well, I think. All right. Try it this way. What? Let's try another one here. Used cars to sale. Damn you. Okay, cars for sale, Daytona Beach. Let's see. Cars.com. Okay. So let's see. Let's go with a 2012, 2021 Ford. Explorer. And the cheapest one I'm going to find on here down the floor at the time is $12,140. That would not have been a bargain. No. No, don't. He's not causing any problems. Yeah, I think they've got a surplus of ventilators now. New York, I think, has turned the page. So, but you want to talk about, I know. Okay, yeah. If we could change subjects here, I think we've exhausted this one already. The bottom line, a large part of what is fueling this squabble is Orange Man bad. He blamed Al Jarm, and no. So let's move on to something else here. I think we're gonna shelve the Mandalorian helmet thing for a bit.
Oh.
Now I've actually seen toilet paper start to reappear back on the shelves again. Yeah, those hospital shelves are empty. Well, no, you don't. You don't set them up after you set them up before you need them. Okay, that's not the way it works. You got to set them up, otherwise, how do you set them up? If you don't, if you already need for no. They were anticipating a big surge. That's why they got the tents. Well, that's your store. It's going to be case by case. It's going to be anecdotal as far as toilet paper goes. Okay, but I was over at Walmart yesterday, and the toilet paper was starting to sneak back onto the shelves. Okay, so the people finally realized they don't. A 5-year supply of toilet paper will probably do us fine. Okay. So, the supply chain's starting to catch up a bit when people realize, okay, do we really need 87 rolls of mega roll toilet paper? Okay. Yeah, you get enough time trying to calm her down when I play a news thing and they even mention the word coronavirus. It's not even germane to the story at hand. Yeah, we're already starting to back off. That most hospitals are not being overwhelmed. Okay, they're not seeing this massive surge of sick people coming in. It's not the Black Death. It's not the plague.
And you're continuing.
I know. I'm trying to shut it down here, though. Okay? So, you. All right. You hope you're washing them. Well, don't try and flush paper towels. They don't dissolve very well. There's a reason why toilet paper is toilet paper, and paper towels. Okay, so. Lower Decks has a chance because the people making it seem to know what the hell they're doing regarding Star Trek. They seem to actually care about, and they did well with the panel they did at Vegas. They actually like Star Trek. They like Star Trek fans. So they've got a chance on that one, and also it's going to run because it's been paid for. It's already been paid for and everything else, and so it's been produced. So it'll come out, as opposed to the other Kurtzman trick nonsense, where they clearly don't understand the subject. They don't like the subject. They don't like the fans. They think they're going to choose their own fandom. It doesn't work that way, guys. You dance with who brought you. And Well, they think they own the series. To a certain extent, we kind of do. Okay, not in a legal sense, in that as a control the rights, but
Yeah, that's right.
well, I'll put that up there. I got an answer for John. They're watching for now. You can't keep that up very long, though, if the quality is not there. Okay. If the show sucks, pretty soon people are going to get tired of getting in there, and the only people watching will be cranky old butts like me who kind of has an obligation to review it. The old thing, we watch us, so you don't have to.
Yeah. Plus, we also have alternative ways of watching it, which we will not go into.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and we don't need CBS All Access to do it. So it's like our watching would gain you nothing.
And for the record, the only reason we have CBS All Access is
because she can keep up with her soaps. And maybe some more reruns. It's like, oh, they have the original Star Trek, but then so do I. I got Blu-rays on the way. Okay.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a point, but not much. But again, you can't sustain an audience. You can't sustain a show with just haters watching it, because there aren't that many people who will hate watch a show that you keep it afloat. Like, oh, watch it and complain about it. But most people will, if they don't like it, they won't tune back in. All right, Netflix and the Amazon deals. Okay. There was the court case actually between Netflix and CBS and Hidden and Secret Hideout, because they're saying we did not sign on for Kurtzman to spend money like a drunken toilet paper, drunken sailor, and just go nuts on this thing, and his team they're bankrupting us. Well, Kurtzman basically countered with, yes, you did. You signed on here, and so they took him to court, and Netflix won. So, yeah, they will be getting out of this deal as soon as humanly possible. I think that's why they didn't sign on for Picard. Because, no, we may be stuck with Discovery for a while, but you're not getting us with Picard. They did, and they refused to they were offered the short treks for cheap, and they just laughed in the face. They got them on there now, but they got them for free. And they're stuck in the extras thing. They're not even promoting them. And Amazon, the only reason they're doing it is because Netflix refused. No, we're not doing it again. You burned us once. We're not doing it again. We ain't got inexhaustible funds. We got our own stuff to worry about. So when Amazon signed on for a lot less than what Netflix did for Discovery, but they're not getting the numbers either. So they're not happy. So this whole thing, oh yeah, let's go for season 2. Not if Amazon has anything to say about it. Because if they ain't gonna pay for another season, guess what? It ain't gonna happen. Kind of goes back to the thing, you can do all the happy talk. Oh, this is development, that's a development. We're doing this thing. We're gonna build up this thing, and we're gonna do Captain Giorgio in Section 31. No, not if anybody's not gonna pay for it. Well, I hope your trash can has a lid on it, because that's going to get stinky really quick if you're using paper towels. But, so yeah, I think it's pretty much. I think there's probably a confluence of issues with Discovery, which is kind of goes in the thing of why they did the 33 days of shooting the final episode, because it made clear. Netflix, we ain't paying for another year of this crap. Wrap it up, or you're going to be looking real stupid. And the only reason, and again, the only reason that Discovery got a third season release is because they can't have a Star Trek show with that hyped run fewer seasons than the original series. But there's also the fact that they only have like 30 episodes out of 3 seasons. The original series had 28 episodes in the first season alone. So next time I counted, it might be 29. If you think if you throw in the pilot and you count the two-parters as 2 episodes, you might actually get that number to 30. So it's like they, in 3 years, they've done what the original series did in 1 for a fraction of the cost. If you can find them, they're oftentimes as scarce as the toilet paper sometimes. But I found some after how long?
Yeah, it was a while.
It took a long time for those things to finally show up.
Yeah, but in the meantime, you got me something meant for wiping my nose.
It was the best I could do. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wait.
But that's why I went, because Midnight's Edge is preparing something to go with, about multiple sources are coming out with. They spent like 33 days on that last episode and reshoots and everything else, and that that's where you got Riker on the bridge of whatever in place of Admiral Potty Mouth saving the day, because that's the way it was supposed to go. It was supposed to be Ann Magnuson up there, not Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, actually,
but that tested, but that
Admiral Shear.
Yeah, but that tested horribly because I think someone, we don't like this person. Why is she coming? But but they filmed that. They got him in uniform, put him on one of the bridge sets, either Discovery or Enterprise or whatever bridge set they got there. Slightly just around, looks a little different. And suddenly it's now Captain Riker coming to the rescue. Oh, they're worried about the Orville. That's why they, season 2 and the trailers, throwing, hey, we can be funny too. No, you can't. You need a sense of humor to be funny. Burn the trash daily. I thought that's illegal these days. He burns his trash daily. It's like, I thought that was illegal nowadays. Okay, that's right. Our old house in North Glen had a little trash incinerator in the backyard, because the house was built in the 50s, late 50s, but so it was about 10 years old when we got to it in 67. But it had an old concrete trash incinerator, and for a long time, what is this? What they used to burn your trash. Eventually, finally, got rid of it. Took it because my folks decided to put a big tool shed back there, and they had to get rid of things. So they eventually went at it with. Got some friends that went out with a sledgehammer, beat the crap out of it, and hauled it away. Beat it into rubble and got rid of it. And I kind of missed it because I used to, have my GI Joes, climb all over it, like they're scaling a castle or something. But they're scared shitless of Orville. And the fact that, this is where your fans are going. They're going over here, and they're, and I'm not the only one who's been hailing as Star Trek Orville. Okay. That happened almost immediately. People were taking the opening credit and playing Voyager's theme over it. And it matches perfectly. And the fact that a large contingent of Voyager's cast, Voyager's crew, are Star Trek veterans. Okay, starting with Brandon Braga, and I think Andre Bormanis is on there, and Jonathan Frakes is directed several episodes. Got Marina Sirtis in there as a recurring part, as a teacher on board. A lot of the effects guys worked on Star. Well, a lot of effects guys, work on a lot of things, but a lot of people specifically sought out because they work on Star Trek, and he's trying to pretty much, because this was Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek pitch when Moonves was pitching around. Like, we want to do a Star Trek, bring us your pitches, and Seth MacFarlane came in, and that was his pitch. Because I remember it was a Hollywood Reporter interview. I wonder what's next for Seth MacFarlane. It was like back in 2014. Nichelle Nichols, I think, she's pretty much retired, I think, because she's had some strokes there. I think her last acting part was Young and the Restless, and she, playing Neil's mother.
Yeah.
And she had a nice little death scene, but she was struggling to get the lines out. Anybody seen her recently at convention, in a wheelchair. not really, the mind is probably still as sharp as ever, but it can't get the words out the way it used to. So no, let her enjoy her retirement, please. Because then you start pushing them, it's gonna get it's into elder abuse at that point. George Takei. Okay, well, no, George Takei will do anything for $1, I think, at this point. Okay, so
It's George.
It's George. He's always out there, and let her name like I think George Takei thinks Zilg. He's always flashing the sign out. Well, you're most likely to get Shatner because Shatner has a relationship with Seth MacFarlane. And of course Seth, I think, would leap at the chance to have Bill Shatner show up on his show.
I think you should try and get Vic Mignogna.
My idea, I think, is, and yeah, you have Vic and Shatner in there, but the scenario I'm thinking of, which, of course, in fact, I'm going to utter it out loud on an open stream, probably, which invalidates it immediately because, you can't do it now. But have Vic Mignogna on there as one of these, hotshot, egotistical captains who knows he's great and he's got the record to prove it, and he's going to rub in your face and, yes, I know, I did this and this, and I defeated these Kalan ships there, and I blew up this thing, and I rescued this man. It's like, oh, for Christ's sake, get out of my bridge, But have it where he's on there making Ed's life miserable just by his mere presence, but have him kind of going off the rails. Oh yeah, Picardo and John Billingsley in the same episode, two doctors. But have Mignogna's characters just go bug fuck nuts, somewhere, just off the rails, and have me reined in by his father, the Admiral, played by Bill Shatner. I forgot that would be a good story right there. Let hijinks ensue.
And Bill Shatner and Vic Mignogna have their own friendship, so yeah, that would be pretty.
Well, yeah, I think first you get Vic, and then you both work. They both have work on Shatner. But that would be. But yeah, remember, when the time that Seth hosted the Oscars. And he had that communication come in from Captain Kirk up on the screen. It's like, the last time Shatner appeared in uniform as Captain, he wasn't really playing Kirk that much. He was just being Shatner. There's a warning from the future. It's like, don't do that bit you're planning on doing. What? Is that bad? Yes, it's that bad. Here's the footage. And they ran, and this whole thing about, I saw your boobs. That's like running the list of celebrities in the audience that had done nude scenes. It didn't go over well with the celebrities in question, but the audience loved it.
And another one they should pull in on the Orville.
Mm-hmm.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I don't know if Neil deGrasse Tyson can act. Okay,
I mean, do like they did with King Abdullah of Jordan.
Well, no, but nobody knows who he was. Especially he wasn't even king. He was a crown prince at the time. Yeah, but you bring Neil deGrasse Tyson on. No, you're going to feature him in some way. I think most likely there'll be a holodeck simulation where he's giving advice.
Yeah.
Well, Shatner's already said he's not going to show up on any. He's done with Star Trek as far as I'm concerned. Again, one, they killed off Kirk. And so what are you going to do? Adventures on the Ribbon. I had to call somebody. What did it mean, Adventures on the Ribbon? So yeah, it'd be a bit of a slap. And a well-deserved one too, I think. I also think, part of the push to get Picard into production. Finn next. Are we still talking Star Trek or Star Wars here?
I think there's a character called Finn on the Orville.
Not that I can think of. But I think part of the push to get Picard in production was to keep Patrick Stewart from showing up on the Orville. Because remember, that Patrick Stewart and Seth MacFarlane have a pretty good working relationship with American Dad and the cameos that Picard, that Stewart's made on Family Guy, voice wise. In fact, actually, through Family, he's got the entire next gen cast at his disposal. Because that one episode where Stewie pretty much kidnaps the entire cast, it makes them all go around town. Where they knock off Denise Crosby in that first 10 seconds, but still, But remember, a large part of the casting of the show depends on who is friends with Seth MacFarlane. Who has he worked with before? That's how he got Liam Neeson to show up, in a cameo. He probably shot it in his living room, but you got Charlize Theron.
Okay.
And
I know what he's talking about.
Or
Dr. Claire Finn.
Oh, Claire. Okay.
Yeah.
That's how her name is spelled?
Mm-hmm. I just dragged up the Wikipedia.
Okay. That would be fun. Especially if it turns out he's the baby daddy of her two kids.
Yeah.
Because therein lies a tale of parental rights and other things. And he would eat that up. Because one of the reasons why the DS9 ended the way it did with Sisko is he really strongly objected to the idea of Sisko being essentially portrayed as a deadbeat dad and running off with the prophets for a while. So he kind of said they stick in something where he is coming back. It's like maybe a year, maybe yesterday. However that line went. So yeah, I could definitely see a thing where he comes in and he's demanding to see his kids, and take on that issue. Yeah, Avery Brooks is a weird guy, but I remember an interview pretty early on in DS9's run, and his answers to the whole thing. This man gets it. He knows what Star Trek is supposed to be about. So yes, he knows what's going on here. So sometimes you get casting with and it wasn't the usual happy talk of diversity and and then he was like really deep stuff in them. I'm not sure to dig that up and figure it out, but it was after he shaved his head. I know that, but because that's one thing. He normal in his normal everyday life, he shaves his head. They made him grow his hair out for the first few seasons of DS9.
And the first time I saw him with a shaved head on DS9, I was
oh
my God,
so I was like,
Spock is back.
Well, it really was Avery Brooks is back. He's taking control of his character because it was the character's still pretty manhandled the first few years because it was before Berman got distracted in developing Voyager, and they let the inmates run the asylum for a while after that. But I was like, first step was when Sisko grew his goatee back. When Avery let Avery grow the goatee back, and you still had the hair. But then it's like, I think off season he goes back, comes back with the Defiant. I think it's when he comes back with the shaved head, and that was the case. Okay, now Avery Brooks is starting to put his stamp on it on the character. It's a little late, but this was new territory as far as shows go. So that kind of goes on the thing of well, all the shows start off rough, and there's no, they didn't. They did not all start off as rough, and uneven. Starting with the original series, that's some of the strongest episodes in the entire run are in the first season of the original series. Well, I've got the novel where he apparently does come back. I haven't read it yet, but I picked it up because it's on the cover thing. I'm going to get around to reading that one of these days. I got another copy though because mine's in storage, like everything else. Yeah. But
what novel are you talking about?
I think it's Unity.
Okay.
Where Sisko comes back.
Okay.
After probably about a year or so, and Kira's been running the station, and it's all Starfleet. But where was I? But some of the strongest episodes, the entire run of any Star Trek series, are in the first season of the original series. And also dispelling on the myth, the first season of Next Generation was not a total train wreck. There were some good episodes in there as well. There were some clunkers because everyone's still trying to find their way, but there was also there was some good stuff in there too. It wasn't all, Code of Honor or whatever the borderline racist one was. They did with them.
Huh?
Yeah, one where Tasha and somebody decided to do it. It was a rather embarrassingly bad episode where the guy.
John C. came back with something.
Oh yeah, now you can't remember who it was. Yeah, that's old lab partner. Well, that was high school for guys. I think even then I had moments. Okay. That was also back before Sam Kinison came on the scene. Where I had there's my avatar. Yeah. But let's see. Let's go back to. Yeah, actually, as of this last month, it has been like 20 years because it was 2000 when he came out here. Alrighty, where were we? Well, let's take a look here at get a rundown of Next Gen's first season. Next Generation. Okay, Counter Farpoint, a little clunky because what was a 1 hour show got expanded out to 2. And Dorothy Fontana's storyline about encountering this strange space, starbase was complicated by the addition of Q and the trial of mankind type thing. But still, it's a pretty good thing. Patrick Stewart definitely had to get off my bridge. He knew how to play the card. Naked Now. It was a naked rehash of the Naked Time. In fact, John D.F. Black was told by Roddenberry, I'm ripping off your Naked Time story. And he got a check out of it. So that's why his arbitration got thrown out. Code of Honor. That's the one that's like, oh God. That's the one where really it's like, no. Last Outpost, it wasn't bad. The Ferengi didn't come across like they thought they would. So that's why you don't see much of them for the rest of the season. Where No One Has Gone Before, it's some pretty heady stuff. Lonely Among Us, I think that one wasn't too bad. Justice, it was Roddenberry's libido run nuts again. But it still had some decent items in there. The Battle. The Ferengi start to develop a bit more of a backbone, but a lot of it is, still the mind screwing of, Picard. Hide and Q, get a little more about, there. Haven, where you meet Loxana. The Big Goodbye, that one won a Peabody Award. And so the first of the holodeck gun, that's the thing. Data Lore, of course, you got Lore, so that went fun. Angel One, that's another one where it's like it looks good on paper, but the execution was kind of off. So 11001001, that one, where we Minuet and the thing. Too Short a Season, that one was a little clunky, but not bad.
Funny thing is, I actually recognize the actress playing Minuet.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
That, Catherine McCormick?
Yeah,
That is where.
Some experience with Avery Brooks.
Well, that's also a case. It's on Hawk or Spencer Fire. But that's a case of she shouldn't, because they missed a big opportunity. Okay, Mecca's going live. But they are doing, when they were doing Voyager's finale, they did, when they didn't show everyone coming in and meeting the family at the dock type of thing, they missed such a big opportunity. Have because they already established Janeway's family for the most part, either through an episode they did with their meeting her dead father, or also the novel came out, Mosaic, with Jerry Taylor. Her sister Phoebe, Catherine McCormick, perfect for that because she looks a lot like Kate Mulgrew. Enough they could be sisters, and I think they could have pulled it off because Katharine Hepburn was still alive. Could have had her as a mother. Not even a line, just a meeting her thing and hugging, because I know people compared Kate Mulgrew and Katharine Hepburn, and Kate Mulgrew's a huge fan of Katharine Hepburn, so she would have geeked out over that. But just have her there and just a nice family hug, and not really any dialogue, just everyone meeting family. Have Admiral Paris, greeting Tom, and Harry and his family getting But yeah, we're up through 1100, 2 short of season wasn't bad. Looked like When the Bow Breaks, that was where they kidnap all the kids and things. Home Soil, that it's some issues going there. Coming of Age, I think. Heart of Glory is what. Which one was Coming of Age? Let me look at the transcript here. I know. Oh, that's where Wesley takes that test to go to the academy first time. That was okay. Arsenal of Freedom, pretty good there. Symbiosis. Let me look at that one again here. Is that the one where? Oh, that's the drug one. Okay, that's the one where they, they can hit the issue of drugs. They're taking on issues. Skinny. Well, as a Paris, that was okay. A little bit insight into Picard's character. Conspiracy was an idea. They were they didn't really go very far with it though. I think it was supposed to tie into the last one, the Neutral Zone, where meet the Romulans and also get a hint of the Borg. So yeah, for the most part, most of the episodes are actually pretty damn good. You only got really 2 or 3 clunkers, And out of 26 episodes, pretty good run there. And season 2, you start digging out some of the what they had in the can at the time, and then a couple of them from phase 2. But yeah, the first season of Next Gen was actually not that bad. Now, I'd find a bit of it. There's one gal at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, at the Orville panel. And she was dressed up as a Laura. So, they got, hey, great, in full uniform. But asked the panel, is Star Trek a thing in the Orville universe? Because they've shown them watching Seinfeld on the big screen, and Seinfeld has had Star Trek references. Oh, nothing but a kitty in the shelter thing. Okay, that's good. Okay, but okay, that nothing there. Of course, Seth MacFarlane was reminding me, security, get this woman out of here. But I think that is a subject that I think they're not allowed to touch on just now of anything directly dealing with Star Trek, because at that time, I think there would have been a lawsuit involved. You would have been thrown out, I think, eventually, but that requires still time and money and lawyers being involved. But I think if they could get the legal ducks in a row, and I could see someone making the argument to Sherry Redstone that you need someone to promote real Star Trek for us, so they can forget about this crap you're stuck with right now. And I could definitely see some kind of holodeck situation, or maybe Ed is incapacitated, someone else is in command, they need some advice from somebody who might know, and they resort to their environmental simulator to get advice, and they punch up a Star Trek scenario, and you have Shatner show up as Kirk or whoever, and they offer advice.
Oh my goodness. Here's another question. Who do you think would be the Wesley Crusher of the Orville? Topa or Marcus?
I'd go with Topa on that, just because Mocklin, you can have more freedom to play with here. Neither of Claire's kids, frankly, show that kind of acuity. And actually, Will Wheaton got annoyed with the way they were writing Wesley at the first season. Like, hey, why am I saving the ship? There's adults here. They should be doing this crap. You know. He didn't like the
now, but he had to be the one.
The thing, he didn't like the idea, of Wesley saving the ship all the damn time. Okay? So I think there's a certain element of just playing with a new toy. Yeah, that's like the kid do it. Yeah. And that's why one of the most popular repeated memes of for especially out of going back to the first season, Daylor, shut up, Wesley. Followed by Beverly, shut up, Wesley. Doctor not now. Then, Mom, shut up, Wesley. Which kind of brings another thing. There's something I would, if I would do a fan edit of that last episode of Picard. One, somebody did they redid the fleet arriving, and it wasn't all just the same stupid ship. It was the Enterprise E. There's some Defiant class in there, a lot of runabouts, and some Mirandas. It was a varied fleet of established ships. But I would also snip just one word out of Riker's opening thing. This is acting captain. They don't need an acting. No, you're a Captain William Riker of the Starship Enterprise. Okay, it's like acting about it. You're in uniform. You're on the bridge. You're the fucking captain. Pay it. Act like it. Okay, come on. This acting captain crap. It's like one. She's a Rom. She doesn't need to know that. Well, she traded as a Section 31 head anyway. She would know what crap anyway. So why pretend? No, Captain Riker. Yeah. So I would go into the editing program and snip that word out right there.
Okay.
Favorite episode of any series? I still go back to the Corbomite maneuver. Because that was a case that they nailed it first time out with first regular production episode. They nailed it. Whole thing, concept-wise. And why is nothing showing up here? There we go. And really, if you go by, in the production sequence there, Corbomite maneuver really was essentially the third pilot. Because it kind of like Joss Whedon said, really, your first 6 episotes are your pilot as far as the audience is concerned, because you're trying to draw an audience. Not everyone's going to see the first episode right off the bat. So you're introducing yourself for at least the first 6 episodes. And that, if you look at the Corbomite maneuver the way it is, you're still introducing people. You're setting up things. Now Spock is this way. You cross with cut pieces every time, and the back and forth between McCoy and Kirk. They're establishing character thing. So there's a lot of setting up the series at that point. And if they had gotten the effects done on time, because that was a very effects heavy episode. And at that point, you only had Howard Anderson, the effects as the firm. They couldn't do it all. They had not to check the credits, but eventually they had like 4 effects houses doing effects for Star Trek just to keep on schedule. But if they had gotten the thing out, I think it's certainly, it has, because it's been pretty well established that they didn't cuss that much by 24th century. Certainly not in Starfleet. They're a little more professional than that. I think they would know the words for the most part, but they didn't really use them that much.
Okay, that's a good question.
There weren't supposed to be any cameos at all. Patrick Stewart was supposed to be by himself.
Before that, actually.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think it has diminished somewhat because it's no longer people in the future who are better than we are now. They're more highly advanced, a little more socially advanced than this. They're now back to the same schlubs you got down the street, and it's like that's not what we watch Star Trek for. But
Paul Shatner showed up on that one episode of Big Bang Theory where Will Wheaton was doing a D&D night.
Yeah, I'm way behind on my Big Bang Theory anyway. So I've yet to watch the last episode. But again, originally there weren't going to be any returning crew members at all. No, I can't. I mean, they would follow me regardless, which is a stupid cop out because these are there's also your loyal crew for a reason. They get the job done. They would know what the hell they're doing. You're going to go with a bunch of misfits who I wouldn't trust with a potato gun. So, but it was when they remember the rumors about the test screenings about how bad this was. Yeah, this is why you suddenly had Riker and Troy showing up in 7 of 9, and because they tested. The story was nonsensical by that point. There were 7 episodes in. They realized this makes no sense. They had to go back and do reshoots and bring in returning characters in order to have it make a lick of sense and get anybody who's interested, because there weren't and there's also Riker and Troy didn't show up until like the 7th episode. Yeah, well, it not completely alien because Kirk was capable of letting out there. Don't you have any goddamn feelings about that? They're double dumbass. They didn't necessarily do it right, but he knew of it. So, but they just didn't do that. There wasn't that kind of culture anymore where you got to swear every other word and you got to get noticed. And it's kind of like Mecha. It's like a bunch of 10-year-olds on Call of Duty getting to say the N-word over and over again. At the top of their lungs. It's like, really, I think, something that John Byrne said about, the comics writers at the time, but the thing applies here too. Is like, we're dealing with writers who can't conceive of characters more noble than themselves. Everyone's got to be just as much of a reprobate and slacker as they are, So, and Roddenberry was very insistent. These are supposed to be heroes. We're supposed to look up to these people, Not necessarily relate to them or identify them. It's supposed to be, you identify them in the sense of, I can identify what they're going through. That's why Spock was so popular. Because they could identify with being, feeling like an alien in their own world, and nobody understanding what they're going through, being split, in that kind of netherworld between adulthood and childhood, where they kind of, being pulled in 2 different directions. Like, and seeing Spock, like, yeah, I can. It didn't have to be, yellow skin, pointy eared, and green blooded, and Vulcan. No, I didn't, because this whole thing. Until you see myself on screen, you don't have to literally see a literal interpretation of yourself on screen. Because, like Rob likes to point out, if I wanted to see myself on screen, every movie would star Jack Black. Okay? And it doesn't work that way. Okay? I think the worst it got on the original series, again, you got standards and practices at the time, and on TV in the 60s, you didn't do that. But somehow, I think they were helped by the fact that at that point they were finishing the episodes about just the week they were ready to air, so they got away with Kirk. At the end of Sid and the Edge of Forever, saying, "Let's get the hell out of here." And that was the first non-euphemized swear word said on network television. At least on script. There may have been a news thing here or there, but at that point, it's like, let's get the blazes out of here. Let's get the devil out. No, let's get the hell out of here. And that was the first, and I think they got away with that because they didn't have time to screen it. Gone, I'm sure Roddenberry got a phone call from the network the next day. Like, what the hell are you putting? Well, there were stronger language than that, but again, it was still pretty mild stuff, though. I mean, the first movie, it's like, damn it, Bones, I need you. It's like working in a damn computer center. They still got a G rating.
Actually, it was goddamn computer center.
No, I think it was.
It was
Let me look that up here, because again, that little transcript site I go to, they don't go by the scripts, they go by They do a transcript of. All right, movies. The motion picture. Let's get on down here. Okay, I already got. All right, let's look at the line here. Well, Bones, the new medical facilities meet with your approval. They do not. It's like working in a damn computer center.
I think he might have said more than that.
No, he didn't. Because again, this is a transcript of it. This isn't from the script. This is a transcript of it. So that's like what they said on screen. That's what they wrote down. Yeah, if you want, I can bring up the scene. See if I can find.
No. Don't worry about it.
And Anna, also the Star Wars girl, is live talking with Mahler. So yeah, that's me drawing a ton of people. That's saying they knew how to, swear, but they just really do it. It's just what it wasn't that kind of society.
Yeah.
They just didn't do that. Okay, yeah. Once in a while, you get a damn or a hell. But in the novelization, the motion picture, you had Kirk imagine the word shit, but it's like his grandfather taught him that. Okay, he didn't pick it up at school. Yeah. Well, the Romulans, remember, the Romulans did not take to Surak. They are emotional. Passionate,
And Stephen Klein has another question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they're not listening to Rod. Okay, he's getting a check for the estate, and he's there for geek cred, but nothing else. He's not getting input on there. They're not listening to him. Now, as for should he be in charge, I'm not sure even he would say that because his experience level is not quite there. It's because I don't think because he's there as a PA on Next Gen for anything, so he's been around the stuff and he certainly done a lot of studying of Star Trek lately. Since his dad died, kind of understand what the hell's going on and why, because for most of his life, Star Trek was just something his dad did. He was not into it. He was a Star Wars fan, and I don't think he in school he really did. He did some filmmaking study, but I think But I would want his input on something because again he's had to do a study of it for his documentary stuff and other things, but I don't think he's quite ready to take the reins of a Star Trek show because people are going to forget Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry had come up through the ranks for a while. He'd been at it for a while, before he finally got Star Trek because he'd already run a show with a lieutenant, and yeah, well, again, 1960s TV series, the blasted, the closest they really got was, in Operation Annihilate. And don't give him any damnable logic that he's the only man for the job. But yeah, you give pretty mild stuff as far as I would like to see Rod get the experience where he could, think, but or at least be an advisor someone would listen to. As for but even then, you got to also think, as far as like David Gerald brought this up. He was I think it was an afterword to the trade paperback of Sitting There Forever. It depends on which Gene Roddenberry you're talking about as far as would Gene approve of this. Because the Gene Roddenberry in 1967 was very different from the Gene Roddenberry of 1987 for a number of reasons. Not the least of which is, his deteriorating health and mental facility by the time in 87. And I think he knew he was starting to drop. He was losing his game by that point. So that's why he took Rick Berman under his wing. You try and steal him because Berman was going to be the studio guy to keep an eye on Roddenberry. And Roddenberry knew it. That's why he kind of stole him away and decided he would be his guy to keep an eye on the studio. Because he also knew the studio well enough that if they were left to their own accord, because they would ruin it. They would kill it. Because when they were talking to Roddenberry about what they had in mind for a new Star Trek show, the ideas they had were horrible. And he kind of got tricked into coming back to work. Because they're talking about, cadets on the ship and, kind of an Animal House in space type thing. Oh, it's like, for Christ's sakes, I can do better than that now. It's like, would you? Please? Yeah, I think let's just say I think the South probably has maintained, the 23rd century has maintained a certain traditional, use of, certain expletives. That green-blooded son of a bitch, And I got a huge laugh too, to the point where it covered up, the other line, where it's payback for all those, arguments he lost. In the theater, nobody heard that line, or they're laughing too hard, Yeah, Rick Berman gets a lot of crap, and deservedly so, because he would not above playing the typical Hollywood producer thing to keep his cast in line, and like he dealt Will Wheaton very wrong, because he was up for a part in I think it was at least a version of Dangerous Liaisons. It may have been or a Valmont or one of those, And he wanted time off. I mean, he wasn't leaving the show, but he wanted time off from the show to do this movie. And he had the part. He was cast. The producers wanted him for this movie. And Berman, threw a minor hissy fit, no, we can't. He's coming up in these episodes. We can't shoot around him. And kiboshed the thing. And lo and behold, turns out, no, they didn't need Will after all. It was Berman doing a power play. He could have easily done the movie, because the episode's supposedly in. The episodes, Will as it was in, suddenly he's not in them, or so minimum he would have been like one day's work. And it was just Berman pissing all over. Well, shut your mouth, kid, and get back in line. You're the actor. I'm the producer. I outrank you. Yeah. Well, Bragg is already on the Orville. He has been since day one. So Rick Berman probably has earned his retirement this point, because like I said, he deserves a lot of crap. I think Whoopi Goldberg really let loose on him one time. I was surprised she showed up for Insurrection or Nemesis, because the way he pulled string, I guess, for Generations. Let's just say she used a term that I'm not allowed to because I'm too white. Okay. But it was like the first time she felt like someone made her feel like a fill in the blank. Word rhymes with trigger. Okay. And she carried that grudge for a while, and so
let's just put it this way: it was used in Blazing Saddles.
Well, it's because one thing, that when Whoopi was promoting her Mom's Mabley documentary, which is very good. Track it down if you can. I think it's on Netflix still, or at least it was on Netflix. But Mom's made a bit where went to Hollywood, and they got a nickname for me, called me Trigger. I think at least I think that's what they call me, and then audience fills fill in the blank and laugh accordingly. Berman sometimes he kept this thing going for a long time, because by all rights it could have crashed and burned within a year or two of Roddenberry dying, and DS9 could have actually just never happened. But he managed to keep things going for a long time, probably longer than it should have been. But he held the reins a little too tight sometimes. And again, he said this wasn't my version of the Future. This is Roddenberry's version. He was staying true to that. And he should have taken a lesson or two from the guys at DS9, because they were just as much hardcore fans as any of us. But they knew how to tweak, because it's the whole thing. You got to know the rules before you can break them properly. They knew the rules, and they knew how to break them properly. Yeah, Michael Piller, he's one of these guys. He doesn't buy the thing of, canon and limitations are bad. No, limitations force you to be creative. It's, when you're just free reign, do whatever you want, that's not for storytelling. You got to have limits. You can't just, pull a cannon out of your pocket and blow away the bad guy, because, you got to limits, like your pocket can't hold a cannon. You don't have a cannon, that sort of thing. So Rick Berman gets a lot of deserved crap, but he also doesn't get enough credit, because he managed to keep it alive for a while. And the thing is, once they get rid of Berman, now suddenly you got, here comes JJ and here comes Kurtzman and the idiots who don't know, anything about it. Mike Okuda is starting to annoy me, frankly, getting, kind of briefly touching back on, the Orange Man bad, and, he's the reason for the germ. No, please, And I'm kind of pushing back a little bit, but Mike is also starting to block people who dare to speak up for Trump and the response. The last one thing, criticize him for trying to be upbeat and bring people. I just had to respond. Okay, fine. Let's just fuck it. Kill each other now. Does arsenic mix well with scotch? So I expect by the end of the day I'll probably be blocked by Mike Okuda. Because he's drinking deep with the Kool-Aid. He's gone off the deep end. So he's starting to annoy me a little bit on that front. But yeah, frankly, I would, as far as a new show, all right, my little master plan for how do you bring back Star Trek? Well, yeah, and because Piller was a writing, Piller mainly was the one who managed the writers. Berman was really more of a line producer type thing. If CBS, Viacom CBS keeps going down the rabbit hole, it's dropping down. You may find up, where the old rumor of them considering selling Star Trek, suddenly it's not so much a rumor. It's no longer a pipe dream. It's like now they got to start selling assets to keep afloat. And one of those assets could very well be Star Trek. In which case, here comes Comcast, NBC, NBC Universal. It's like, hi. I understand you have a franchise that we actually have some experience with. We still got the records. We got the receipts of how to do this show, And we got a producer over here who is really good at this stuff. He's doing a show very much like this. And he would really like to get a hold of this. So next day, back Hollywood Reporter, back in like 2014, interviewing Seth MacFarlane. He was doing a good, strong run with some movies at the time. And the Family Guy was kicking ass at them. What's next for Seth MacFarlane? He said he wanted to do Star Trek. He said he would love to get a hands on and do a Star Trek show. And this was a while before Discovery was announced. And I started beating the drum. Yeah, get this man a Star Trek show, because the concerns he was thinking is doing a good, proper science fiction show. And this is while JJ's going gaga about that. It's like, no, we need good science and the attitudes, and do good commentary and stuff. We need that kind of thing. And he was saying this back in 6 years ago. So I was not one of those. Oh my God, he's gonna. No, I was when he announced the Orville. It's like, yes, let's see what he can do. Because I was definitely on the bandwagon of that one. I knew. No, it's not going to be Galaxy Quest, okay? Because there's already Galaxy Quest in development anyway. Although that's not. I think that's going to die slowly because without Alan Rickman, there's no point. But yeah, okay, well, yeah. I think I'm going to go back to where I thought some of these rumors started as far as CBS selling Star Trek. I think there may have been a meeting or two where they, looking at, post Kurtzman, when they finally get from underneath that, albatross, and doing a deal with Seth to produce a Star Trek show. Because again, the success of the Orville is what pretty much documented. We have the ratings to look at. We can point to, that was the highest rated Thursday show that Fox ever had, and they were kicking ass. And again, fan response. Just look at how many times it's been referred to as Star Trek Orville. How many fan videos you got to stack up where they take the opening credits of the Orville and put Star Trek music over it. So yeah, it's like obviously their fan base has defected to the Orville, And for a show like that, you need your fans, because the whole thing about you can't, just in the fans, you can't do it without the fans, okay? Because the fans are the ones who bring in the newbies. They're the ones who buy the merchandise. They're the ones that go online and start singing the praises of, yes, this show is great. Come watch this show. Because I've been saying for years, who's going to want to watch a Star Trek show that Star Trek fans don't like? Or Star Wars movie that Star Wars fans don't like, et cetera, et cetera. Fill in the blank of whatever franchise. You piss off your fans, you've lost it, okay? You got to have a fan, you've got an existing fan base. You do need to cater to those fans to a certain extent. You don't let them call the shots, because most of them aren't professional writers. They don't know how to plot a script, to save their lives at the time, but they do know what they like. So yeah, you take the fan reaction into account. But if your whole idea is to piss off these old fans and get them to go away so we can bring in new people, the new people aren't coming. If they were they would have been there already, I think that was the plan for Voyager originally. I was hoping it set up the Maquis, and that lasted about 10 minutes. Because you really didn't see much, Maquis stuff after they all got in uniform. Yeah, I think, one, they'll have to let it sit for at least a couple of years to get the bad taste out of our mouths. And also, I think, two, the contract requirement might be they need to let it sit fallow for a couple of years. And that's why you're not going to see anything approved by Sherry Redstone. As far as nothing's going to be greenlit. JJ can make all the pitches he wants. He can announce, oh yeah, we got this director and that director. We're casting this guy. Until it's greenlit, it ain't happening. And it ain't happening until Sherry Redstone said yes, and she ain't going to say yes to anything. Because she wants these guys gone. They have destroyed what she sees as a family heirloom. Because right now, Star Trek is wrong. Even going back to the original series, it's always relied on merchandise sales. Even some of the crappy stuff they did back in the 60s and 70s, which had nothing to do with it. Was just a repurposing, relabeling an existing toy, put a Star Trek label on it, and put it out there. It wasn't until like the 70s with the Mego figures it really started actual proper Star Trek merchandising. It was still kind of dodgy then. But when Star Trek, Star Wars, Star Wars in the same boat there. The merchandise is not moving. You used to have an entire aisle at Walmart or Toys, back in the day when there's still Toys, but at Walmart, we had an entire aisle of Star Wars stuff. Now, if you're not paying attention, you can skip right by the Star Wars section, which is maybe one piece of the shelving will have Star Wars stuff on it. And a lot of that will have clearance tags on it too. These franchises really live on the merchandise sales, and there is no appreciable merchandise for Discovery or Picard. None for Picard. I mean, maybe, Eagle Moss is maybe putting out a ship figure, or some ship models, but that's very low end. As far as merchandise sales, that's not high numbers. I don't know, maybe. I think I'd lean more towards what I think Seth is doing. A new ship, new crew, not necessarily the top ship in the fleet. It's down a couple. The B team that comes in after the Enterprise comes through and establishes first contact. Now we get the guys coming in, who has to, further the contact and, actually set up the trade negotiations. The last guy started. And where the discipline isn't necessarily so strict, where they do kick back, and where it is basically, it's Star Trek with blackjack and hookers, But yeah, they're merchandise sales for Picard are negligible right now. It's like, you can't do much of a word. Cheap wine, occasional T-shirt, and high-end collectible model ships that you don't build yourself, but are sent to you. Like Eagle Moss Mills are they're about $20 a piece, but they're kind of almost made to order, I think. And you need the stuff like the action figures in the stores and lots of T-shirts and model kits and stuff, and that ain't happening. I'm still kind of shocked that Polar Lights finally put out Discovery models. But notice that the next one they're coming out with in that line is not the Discovery and it's not the Shinzu. It's a bigger version of the Disco Prize. Because people they still got things for the Enterprise. And it is a nice looking ship. I'll give it that. It's a nice redesign of the ship, but try and push that off as this is Pike's Enterprise. No, it ain't. Okay. Because I thought about getting one of those things myself, but I'm not going to call it. There's going to be a letter at the end of that registry number.
Okay, and the question for you.
Okay.
Is the Orville now considered the top ship in the?
No, because it's not. The ship class is not the top ship in the fleet. It's the one rung below. There's the heavy cruisers up above. In fact, maybe I can find the shirt. Hang on, hold on. Let me check. I want to pull your blanket over. Now, let me just turn the camera off for a bit here. I'll do back in a second here.
Oh, and
what?
Somebody on Twitter you might want to consider following.
Who?
Kirk Thatcher.
No, maybe. Fine. No. Ooh, what's this one?
You should remember him, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek.
I know. Yeah. Punk on the bus.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go.
He's very active on social media.
I'm gonna change shirts real quick because this one is a little tight.
Oh, right, actually, I think I need to go to the bathroom.
All right, well, now's your chance.
It'll take a few minutes.
All right.
Oi.
Find my Orville shirt.
Oi.
Talk amongst yourselves. First things first, get this thing up.
All right. We'll be back in a few minutes, guys.
All right.
Let me even put on my shorts.
Yeah, sure. This is better.
All right, hold on.
This is an important thing here, guys. It's not just wasting time. It's an important visual aid.
Not to mention, I need to get my shorts.
Have to, but mainly I'm getting because I need the bit this here. Demonstrate something about the Orville universe. I don't know why I'm going to Georgie Jessel, but hey, it's
top ship for its class, maybe, but
well. I think there may be an episode coming up where Ed will have to ponder the, being offered promotion to one of the big heavy cruisers. How is this? Oh, that's I know it's in here. Baby Yoda shirt.
oh, Baby Yoda.
What's it inside out? How much? Star Wars shirt. Deadpool shirt. Another Deadpool shirt. Put in the suitcase? got that.
Hmm.
I got that. Hold on.
Hopefully they're not going to drop off.
No, that's why I keep my noising going. Let them know we're still here. Metallica shirt. Yeah, I think it's in here actually. There we are. Got it. Okay. Okay.
I'll be back in a minute.
And we're back. Okay, see. Here's the Union fleet. And there's the Orville. Right there. That's your bigger ship right there. There may be a few ships in between here too. But yeah, that's no way is the Orville the top ship in the fleet. It's like less than half the size of the top ship in the fleet. So yeah. Well, I think it's not the Orville itself though. Ed is definitely considered one of the top captains of the fleet. I think would not be surprised if you get a story where he's being considered for promotion to a larger ship. In which case, now you're going to get the whole thing of do I stick with this little bucket I'm on here because I like it here, and the crew because Because it also begs the question of like the Orville ain't exactly a small ship by itself. And what they've got on there, I think if you could almost put those same sets on the same capacity onto a Galaxy class ship because their family is on board the Galaxy. But yeah. So, I have to rethink my idea about, if you had that very special episode of the Orville where, you have John Delancey guest star and, at some point just, and then suddenly everything is Starfleet. And the only big change as far as, the, uniforms, change the uniforms, change the nomenclature from like, instead of Planetary Union, Federation of Planets, instead of Union Fleet, Starfleet, change the phasers, in the phase, just props and uniforms and badges there. The only really big change would be the ship design, because the interiors would match up fine with a regular Starfleet vessel of that period, which ironically enough is the same as far as year, time as roughly where Picard is, some 20 some years after Nemesis, but I think I don't know. It wouldn't necessarily, in order to maintain the thing of a mid-level science, exploratory vessel, I think you really couldn't just turn the the Orville into a Galaxy class ship. That'd be something somewhat down below, maybe a ambassador class. But yeah, I don't think I need that. Well, I'll keep it up anyway. But one of the things I do want to look into is trying to figure out what would a Starfleet version of the Orville be, and try translate that hull to bulk up a secondary hull and put some nacelles on that sucker.
Oh, it kind of brings to mind the Voyager.
If I think a slightly beefed up version of an Intrepid class.
Yeah,
something like that. Let's see what else is going on here. I know Mecha starting to one, Sunday afternoon Mecha time. Usual entertainment is BS. That's her subject line there. Let's see what we got here.
Don't quit your live stream.
I'm not. I'm going to keep plugging away here. The hell?
Okay, do you think that this season of Orville we will learn more about Avis and maybe see Avis?
I think they'll be probably flesh things out of it because that's what they do.
I wouldn't mind seeing that Kayla and Hottie come back and maybe I don't know. Have a bit of a thing for her.
Let's see. In other news, apparently DC Comics has worked out a deal to get stuff back in the shops by the 28th. Granted, the stuff they're putting out is absolute crap, but they're putting out product, so. Get back to that. It's Hayden Christensen's birthday, for all the good that is, isn't he? Oh, boy.
What?
Jesse Milestone putting out, just like to be known that I went shopping in a bathrobe and slippers long before the cough. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go through here. And someone's done a thing where they aged all the Avengers 30 years or 20 years. I don't think Scarlett Johansson's going to look quite that haggard. I think she's going to hold up better than that. What the hell? Oh.
Who would be a better Avis? Shatner or Mark Hamill?
Okay. I don't think Avis should be portrayed by anything because, we're talking about apparently some kind of religious deity type, and I don't think they want to go there. Okay.
Remember what happened when they did that in Star Trek 5?
Well, it kind of goes the old thing of one story you never do is, your characters meet God. Because, either it's going to be revealed it's not God, in which case your body's going to hate you because you lied to them, or whatever portrayal you do of God is not going to match up with whatever, What I mean, you get screwed with no matter what. You're gonna fail no matter what. So just don't even go there. All right. Apparently, there were Russell T Davies. There were plans to. I'm going to follow him. There were plans to have Martha and Mickey go into Torchwood. Join, in Children of Earth, but Freeman and Noel were too busy being superstars, so they couldn't do it. John Barrowman came back. That would have been great.
Okay. you think we will ever see a good Fantastic Four movie? And could they do a good Doctor Doom?
I think we stand a better chance now. Because, one, Marvel has control now. They're no longer having to deal with all these idiots who don't know, don't know their butt from a hole in the ground. But John Krasinski has apparently have a little more creative input into a Fantastic Four movie. And possibly even direct it. And while his wife, Emily Blunt, has been a little cold on the subject of doing a comic book movie, since she'd be starring with her husband, it's like, yeah, she'll do it for that. So there's your Sue Storm. Whoops.
Nepotism reigns supreme.
Well, it helps if that kind of couple. It's like, John Krasinski auditioned for Captain America. He was like runner-up. It was between on to him and Chris Evans. And I think he would actually make a better match for Reed Richards anyway. Just to get back here, Now I would just not even go near the idea of Avis being a real creature. Now, maybe have Shatner or Mark Hamill in there as high priest type thing. Yeah, sure. It's whether or not Shatner's going to want to put up with the 15 pounds of latex on his face to turn him into a krill. Same with Mark Hamill, although I think Mark might go for it more. I think you do better getting Shatner as a Union Fleet admiral or something like that, or if you can work out a deal with CBS, it's on as a holodeck recreation of Captain Kirk. Here we go. Let's get this back on there. I got proper. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I got this. Let me stick this in here. Yeah, I got this thing, this little stupid thing at Walmart. It's supposed to go on their phone, like that. So now you can do a little podcasting from your phone, and there's your light. You got your light on there, so I figure it'd be useful, for the pooter. So I'm not, so depending on whatever, light source I got. Michael Dorn will probably eat that up. Again, it depends on what the makeup process is, but I think it might not be quite as intensive as it was for Worf. Because they still show a lot of his face for Worf. And that part of where I think you had to tack it down in certain places. Also, would you want to play a character like that again? Or is he ready to move on to something else? But yeah, my little master plan for Star Trek, I never got around even to finish that. Again, once you got Kurtzman and JJ completely out of it, you don't have to listen to them anymore, don't take their pitches, they have no control over it, they have no legal say over it whatsoever. Freaking ever. What do we got here?
I need you to get one you
All right. I would do at least one more season of Enterprise. Okay, fast forward how many years do you think is appropriate to however the guys all look now?
Ooh.
And maybe, put them in the middle, of the Romulan War or wrap it up the Romulan War, whatever.
Okay,
But
Stephen Klein came up with another one.
What, Fantastic Four again, or what?
No.
Or Michael Dorn is Michael.
No,
I answered that one. Yeah, I'm not sure Michael Dorn is going to want to go back to that. It also depends on what the makeup thing would look like. How it.
Yeah,
because he was having serious concerns with doing Worf all the damn time. They finally got it down with just tacking down a couple places that he keeps his face immobilized, but he was worried about getting scars from that person.
He did have scars.
He might have some. Next thing, and he was worried about worse because that's why they got it down to where just tacking down a couple of spots, and he just keeps his face immobile. keep from breaking it. But it's like, it's what we want to do that again.
Mm.
He sure as I would not want to do a Klingwork.
Oh, sweet cheese.
Yeah. So I think that was part of, maybe a reassurance when they showed that scene from Sins of the Father and the little montage of the first episode of Picard. So yeah, there's Worf. So if we bring him back, he'll look like this. Because that was another thing in the test screens. They showed some Klingworks at start, and that didn't go over well. But yeah, I would do at least one more season of Enterprise, because that's another case of unfinished business.
Mm-hmm.
That show was canceled too damn soon, and so it shares that with the original series.
Yeah.
So I would give them a proper wrap up, at least one more season, maybe two, a couple, three.
Only one problem with that.
Well, again, the modern streaming, you could do a 10-episode series, season now.
But
You wouldn't have to do 20-some episodes like the old days.
I don't think they could get back to it.
I think with a shorter run, they could work around his schedule.
Okay, maybe.
That's the thing. And I'm not sure any of the other ones are tied up with anything major. So, Bakula would be the question mark. But yeah. But get that, and also to reestablish, we're back in the canon universe. And yes, sorry, Dr. Victor Dan Doomcock, but no, Enterprise is part of the canon universe. There's a few tweaks here and there, but nothing that egregious that you can't squint it here and there or blame it on the temporal Cold War.
Temporal Cold War.
Yeah, that's what I called it. I'm going to coin that one. But that would be,
Oh goodness.
But get back to that, and then from there, then you start working on new stuff to carry the timeline forward. Get Seth and see if we can use his original pitch and just do a Star Trek version of it, or something else. He's got plenty of other ideas. Because let's see if I can. Let's see if we can dig up his old fan film here. Whoops. Not quite what I was after, but I can get back to that later. Okay. All right. Seth MacFarlane. Of course. Damn it. Stop it. Stop it. Stupid. No, I don't want to talk about Graham Norton. Seth MacFarlane Star Trek fan film. Let me just call this up here. Mute that.
He was still young, wasn't
He was probably 12 or something, kid. Let me get a picture of him. Yeah, let's pause that right there. I had a clear picture of him. Looking for a still frame that's somewhat clear. Come on, stay in frame.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the camera work is a little shoddy, but
Stephen Klein came
okay.
up with another one.
Okay, and
He's saying that Enterprise had the episode Regeneration, which featured the Borg.
that one barely gets by because you never hear them actually say the Borg. And you get a half a thing where, apparently Zephyr Cochrane made some reference, I guess, after a few beers, that there's some kind of cybernetic bad guys after them from the future, but but you never actually hear them say we are the Borg, so that's how they got away with that one. But is it up?
I'm not seeing it yet.
Hold on, let me see this here. Hold on. Let's share that, and here we go. There's our boy Seth. Back in the day, figures about 16 or 17 at the time. So, or someone's figuring it's like 14. So I don't have an actual year here. So,
There we go.
yeah, it's muted. So let's just, but this. Damn it. Why is it not moving? Oh, there we are. But this is what he was doing as a kid. Enterprise model, seen better days. He's cobbled together a set, convinced his friend to put on some pointed ears and bushy eyebrows. That's probably his sister. So yeah, go back to that first episode of the Orville as they're taking the ship out, and he's got this shit-eating grin in his face. This is what we're talking about here. He's been working his entire adult life and a lot of his childhood life to get to that point. So that's why he's got that great. Yeah, I'm the captain of a ship, and nobody's going to tell me any different. Follow that longer, yeah. I was the entire thing, but yeah, that's any more than that. We're gonna probably get a phone call that I don't want to get. So up there. The Ferengi, I think they kind of dropped the ball on that. So because that's a case of they acting with them pretty directly, and it's like, no, you don't get away with they never said who they were. They would be asking some questions. And the entire crew was up and awake and in charge when they sent them packing. So somebody's going to ask a question, who the hell are these guys? So we know how to look out for them in the future. But even then, it's like, because even, I'm not sure, I have to check whether or not Final Outpost was considered a first contact, because they, in Next Generation, they were aware of the Ferengi, and they never really established when there was first contact with the Ferengi. They didn't know much about them. They'd heard rumors about, I hope they find you as tasty as their last, clients, but yeah. And the Ferengi technology is estimated to be equal to their own. So probably going to be a.
Too bad my favorite Ferengi actor died.
Who? Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, okay.
And that really sucked.
All right. Okay. And looking through here, I don't see anything where So I think it may be a case of they weren't the Ferengi one is probably you can live with it. I mean, I think they did kind of botch it a little bit there because the way they had, but they didn't necessarily cripple it. It just was handled clunkily. But they probably even couldn't, because, like I said, Last Outpost is probably the first prolonged contact that Ferengi had with humans, because they were just heard rumors of human ugliness, or just they hadn't dealt with it. I think they may have steer clear of the humans. They don't like to play with they don't play well with others. And the Borg, that was really in the line there. And but thing is, kind of ironically enough, when I did one of my submissions to Strange New Worlds, the main story I wanted to push was Captain April taking the Enterprise out for the first time, and they had the whole dedication ceremony and fireworks and everything else, and had them encountering the Borg. But I had them encountering a heavily damaged Borg cube that was easily defeated, and did the old stuff. They're beaming aboard, they're analyzing, they get a pretty good handle on it, but then Section 31 shuts it all down. And I show them shutting it all down. I say, yeah, Section 31 just called it. What? And say, oh, and okay, here's all the data sets we have on what we've done so far. Yep, wipe them, hit them with a phaser or whatever. It's like they've got the reason, so that's everyone who had any contact with this stuff has been told you are not to talk of this ever again upon pain of death or whatever, or something equivalent. So I laid out, yeah, yeah, they met the Borg before, but that's it. But also, we're not talking that, by the time I did it, so, we're in 23rd century, is, early Enterprise, so we're not talking that, so that was kind of just in a way kind of set up, them sending the Hansons out to study the Borg before anyone else had heard of them either, so. So it's one of those cases of maybe, if you know the right people, you might hear a rumor or two about these creatures called the Borg, Yeah, the only place where they really drop the ball and there's very little you can do to get around it is with the Romulans. And that one, you kind of got to just take a case, just take the approach of weirder things have happened, so go with this. The records that they had, for by the time of Balance of Terror, it might have been, that not really explicitly known that the Romulans had cloaking technology. And it's kind of like, unless you need to know about this, we're not going to tell you, because it's kind of, because there's different levels to classification. Not everything's just automatically top secret, never see it. There are levels. The lowest level is called for official use only. And that would kind of, I think, where the Romulans being able to cloak would fall into. It's not explicitly forbidden knowledge, but it's like, we're not going to tell you unless you actually have to know about it. And the history text is probably figured, just don't mention it. If they really need to dig for it, yeah, you can find out. But in a general history text of what's going on, and in 100 years, it'd be easy to forget this sort of thing, and it never comes up. And so you'd have a thing where it's not necessarily a violation, it's just kind of stretching things a little bit, where it's like, why didn't they know about it? Well, they didn't ask. And again, stupider things have happened, in real life, where it's like, it's like, if you look hard enough, okay, oh, here it is. In this section here, they didn't put in the general school books, even at the academy, because it's like, at that point, who knew you were ever going to see a Romulan anyway? So it's like, it's the difference between a general history of World War II and then a kind of a detailed breakdown of the Enigma device type of thing, or some of the other Nazi weapons, where it's like, if you're just in regular old plain old history class, you're not going to get into that kind of crap. But then suddenly you got a German U-boat off your port bow that's decoding everything you know. It's like, wait a minute, and then oh, they have this thing. If you dig a little further, yeah, here's the listing here. Yeah, this Enigma thing. Oh, now you tell us, that sort of thing. But yeah, the Romulan thing. But that's also the beauty of with canon, is you can explain these things away using canon to kind of, in some cases, justify some goofs. Or it's like in the old, old Marvel that, getting here's your no prize for explaining this obvious screw up we made, Like anyone been reading Marvel comics for any longer than 20 years, you hear about, so and so. Here's your official Marvel no prize, and they would send you a thing in the mail, and there was no prize. It's a full certificate, for identifying an error. Here's your official Marvel, no prize. It's just kind of way rewarding, jokingly rewarding readers for being attentive. Stuff like in a frame where Iron Man is shooting an energy blast, but instead of the red gauntlet, they painted flesh colored. Obviously, they screwed up. But the no prize for that is just the blast was so bright that it made it look pink. And that one got a no prize. So, that kind of thing. And so basically explaining how the depiction of the Romulans in Enterprise doesn't match up with Balance of Terror and other Romulan stuff. It's like, there's your no prize. They didn't, why didn't it say? You didn't ask, Basically boil it down to that. And similar thing to Enterprise incident, where the dialogue seems to imply that this is the first time I've ever encountered a cloaking device. And that was just really just clumsy phrasing on Spock's part for the most part. Where there's, in fact, I'll dig up the line in question here. Okay, Enterprise incident. Okay, the line here. I believe the Romulan, Spock. I believe the Romulans had developed a cloaking device which renders our tracking sensors useless. Now, to the uninitiated, that would imply that this is the first time they've encountered a cloaking device. No, the first time they encountered a cloaking device which renders their tracking sensors useless, because before they could still track them through the motion sensors. They just couldn't see them. So, so there's no prize for that, It's not saying that they didn't have a cloaking device before, just that they've refined it better. So now even the tracking sensors don't work. So that kind of thing. And it's a way that is how canon is useful as a tool to go back into the record and find, okay, how will we make this work? Well, here you go. In this episode, they did this. In this episode, they did this. So, this is how we make it work. If you don't have any respect for canon or a canon worth having respect for, then you just pull anything out of your ass and call it happy, and you go on and wonder why nobody takes your show seriously. Which is kind of where we are now with Doctor Who, because suddenly it's like canon is now canon was always a loose concept anyway with Doctor Who, just because of the nature of the story is such that the longevity is no one can keep any of that crap straight, and they have contradicted themselves if you don't. And so what Earth's like in this particular time period. Sometimes it's a wasteland, sometimes it's it's a paradise, and sometimes it's just like it's the door, the world outside your door. Only people are like 20 years older, and there's an occasional flying car beyond that. But Chibnall pretty much just tossed that right out the door, and now it's like forget it. Terrence Hicks had a pretty answer of canon. Doctor Who canon is whatever I can remember at a given time. They try to keep it straight, but they're not going to sweat the details because it is time travel show, so you ain't got parallel timelines. So occasionally, okay, all right, we're in this one. This is this Earth. It's not this other Earth.
Rob's going live at 3.
Rob Burnett.
Yep.
I am. I send out invites and nobody comes. Okay. But we got 8 people here. I'm thankful for you 8 people who are here.
I'm still showing 11.
I'm showing now. Now it's showing 7. Let's see. Get that back up here.
Shall I post your PayPal again?
Oh, I got it in the description.
Yeah. So post it in the chat.
Yeah, if you're gonna throw some money at us directly, the PayPal is right there in the description, right below my name. With Patreon right below that, I got a $1 level with Patreon. We can start building up some numbers on that front. But even that was one of the things in the original series. I think they didn't call it canon back then. They just call it continuity. I'm trying to be consistent from episode to episode. They didn't worry too much about it, but they did try to make sure that if we did this certain thing this week, we're not going to do something totally different the next week. And a lot of it's just little things here and there, like setting up rules. Okay, this is what a phaser does. This is what a phaser doesn't do. This is the setting up. What how kind of range does a transporter got? What can and can't we do with the thing? What kind of speed limit does a ship have? That kind of thing. Whereas other shows of the time didn't care about that kind. They're just worried about what's the story got to do. And suddenly the ray gun has a different different capability it didn't have last week. But yeah, modern shows are doing like Irwin Allen back in the day. They don't crap. I mean, what happened earlier in the episode or earlier in the movie? Case like think about the JJ trick with the transporter. They managed to beam Kirk and Sulu after they pretty much reached terminal velocity by that point, just before they go splat on the ground. But they can't beam up. They're beaming with a bunch of Vulcans, and they can't lock onto Amanda because the ground fell out from under. Really? I don't think so. That's a big thing right there, where it's like, no, I don't buy it. Okay, you've blown it. We're not even a third of the way in the movie here. Oh yeah, there's the Star Trek Writer's Guide is about. I've got online. I think here, but it's actually there's a couple of versions of it, and one I got actually includes the first season version of it, where it's slightly different because they had first season they hadn't figured out photon torpedoes yet, at least not for a long time. No, not until Arena. Before that, it was just phasers. But I think other shows that had writers' guides, it's like this, this is this character, this is this character, this is what they do, this is the relationship to that, and this is their setting, But they probably got a little more in depth with the Star Trek Writers' Guide because there's more to it. This is the ship. This is what it's capable of. This is how big it is. This is the captain. This is a bit of his backstory. There's Spock, and there's this is what kind of this is Scotty. He likes to drink. Sulu has a hobby every other week. Uhura likes to sing in the rec room occasionally. And Chekhov is Russian. But don't worry. This is the general. This is a general idea, but don't worry. Don't sweat too much about it because we got people on staff here that can correct you if you go weird.
Wasn't Walter Koenig cast because they wanted somebody to look kind of like
they? That's the old thing. About the whole creation of Chekhov, because there was another show on NBC, The Monkees, which I think. I'm not sure if it aired the same night as Star Trek, but it was leading. But they wanted to try and capture some of that, the teeny bopper market that was going gaga over Davy Jones, and so they cast on it, and they wanted, there's a few guys that auditioned for this part, which at the time was originally an Englishman. It wasn't a Russian; it was an English kid who was coming in. I guess so, Walter Koenig, and they, had to let his hair grow out some because his hair was fairly short at the time, and so there's put a beetle wig on him for the first several weeks. But somewhere in the process, it turned into a Russian character during the audition process because somebody dude line the captain. I don't the ship is going to blow up. Can you do it funny, Captain? The ship is going to blow up. But it was kind of a whirlwind casting for him because they never really told him until, nobody told him he was cast until he's being taken down to wardrobe. And somebody, maybe his Bill Dice or one of his underlings, was just getting his in scene with the measure. Hey, what are you doing? Like, fitting you for your costume. What costume? Didn't you tell you got the part? I think part is because Walter was never under contract. He was always a day player. It was a day-to-day thing. You know, that's another thing people don't really take into account at the time. Is most of these guys, they were doing other shows besides Star Trek. They weren't just locked in and waiting for the phone. They weren't regulars, and they weren't there every day. Especially, the Sulu, Uhura. It's like if they're only seeing them on the bridge, they were there maybe 1 or 2 days because you shot your stuff, by what set you used. They didn't shoot in order. That would be, impossible on a TV schedule. So you shoot all your Babylon, not that, because I saw the Babylon 5 question there. You shoot all your bridge scenes on one thing. You shoot all your sick bay scenes on another scene. You shoot all your planet sets on them, probably the last thing, because it takes longer to set up. So it's like if you got a scene on, where you got 2 scenes on the bridge, and that's the only scenes where Sulu and Chekhov and Uhura are there. That's the only days they're there. They shoot their stuff and then because that's what, where Shatner is going on, where he finally had enough with George Takei, bad mouthing him for years on years. And I don't know George Takei. I don't know who he is, who drives. He'd come in, he'd do his 2 day, a couple day or two on the bridge. I say, hey, George, and they, familiar enough, but Shatner's there and Nimoy and Kelly. They were there all week because they're in, and especially Shatner was pretty much in every scene for the most part. And he's got 9-10 pages of dialogue to do that day, and remember stuff for the next day. So he's working his butt. He's got publicity to do. He's going to interviews. He's showing up on talk shows, magazine, whatever. You wonder why he wasn't buddy with the lower ring of the cast. He didn't have that freaking time. He's the lead of the show. That does carry more than just the paycheck. It means you're responsible for promoting this thing. That's why we pay you the big bucks, Shatner. So get your ass out there and talk to the New York Times. It's like Rona Barrett wants an interview. You get your ass out there and talk to her, okay? We got you. You're on Mike Douglas tomorrow night. Make sure your schedule's clear. And Nimoy and D. Kelly, or especially Nimoy, because they're doing the thing. Leonard, you're going to be on the Carol Burnett show for walk-in thing. Just go straight to because you're going to be in costume and makeup. So it's just we'll take you over there. That's the thing. Look, they finally released the earlier shows of the Carol Burnett show. It's a sketch called Mrs. Invisible Man. Everyone saw that clip of Nimoy with the whole thing, but everyone thought it was one of those commercial things where the commercials come to life and something. No, it's something totally different. It's like the sketch is such that the lady's married to the Invisible Man, and the end of the thing is he finally drinks something to make him visible again. And it's Harvey Korman's voice, I think, for the whole thing. So all right, I think, and he comes out and it's Nimoy in full Spock regalia. And I'm judging by Carol Burnett's reaction, I don't think she was expecting. I don't think she knew what to expect because she's just totally shocked. Like, what? Who knows what the hell they did during? I would love to ask her, what did you do in rehearsal? Do you remember this sketch at all? Because it's 1967. Like, do you remember this sketch at all? And what did they do in rehearsal compared to what happened when Nimoy walks out with a cup of water in uniform and full Spock makeup? Ironically, on CBS. Yeah, until they got their hands on little UPN CW thing, and they summarily cancel Enterprise. That was the only active production they had ever done related to Star Trek was what Leonard Nimoy, as dressed up as Spock, walking out in the Carol Burnett show. That's the only production experience they'd ever had with doing Star Trek. I think it became that way only because fan adoration had gotten to a point because this kind of thing of why they suddenly hated Shatner after years of we're a family, we all got everyone's fine because you had another 20 some years of they go from they were day players, they were a bit part, they were there for the 2 days, got their check, and they would, for the rest of the week they'd be doing like an episode of Mannix or something or whatever, Because if you look at go pick a lower cast supporting cast member, look at their IMDb and look at the period between 1966 and 1969 and what they're doing besides Star Trek. Jimmy Doohan was mentioned in some episodes he never appeared in Star Trek. There were a couple where he, like This Side of Paradise and Journey to Babel specifically come to mind, where Scotty is mentioned. Scotty is not in the episode. That kind of thing. Or why for a long time, it's like, who's at the helm? It's not Sulu, it's not Chekhov. You got Mr. Hansen manning the helm that week because, who knows what George is doing that week. They were, they really were, substitutes. Nichelle Nichols wasn't always a communications officer. Lieutenant Palmer was there, showed up a couple times, and for Turnabout Intruder, Nichelle wasn't in that. They brought back Barbara Palat, I think, Angela, who, for some reason, Dr. Lester, as Kirk calls Lisa. Whether or not they forgot what her character was named or called, they just no, she doesn't know the crew that well. I think she knows Lisa. But I think it was like after a while, especially with the animated series. But I think after a while, those the guys who were there the most on the bridge together. So that's when you got, the other of Sulu and Chekhov and Uhura, and it's like nobody else on the entire ship ever showed up on the bridge but them. Bo, okay? Watch the show, okay? Like that, I think that was handsome. Some geeky looking redheaded kid was the navigator for episodes in the first season. Nothing really fun. You're too weird looking. Go away. But he had lots of lines. I mean, poor Billy Blackburn. I mean, he was there all the damn time. Never got a line. He only got a name because in a piece of the action. I mean, Scotty's Lieutenant. What's her face? Find out what a heater is. Check the linguistics. But he was all over the damn place. Also, a lot of things. A lot of these guys, they weren't just playing an Enterprise crew, but they'd be extras on the planet. Throw a costume and a wig on him, and suddenly he's a native. Whatever. Eddie Paskey, Lieutenant Leslie. He was in more episodes than George Takei. Of the supporting cast, he's like top of the list as far anything other than the big three.
Wasn't Smith kind of a one-off?
Yeoman Smith was only in the pilot, yes. But it's kind of nice that George continues brought her back, sort of thing, and gave her a backstory. But yeah, by the time the movies came along, it's up to now the fans are going. Everyone's we love Spock, we love Chekhov was our favorite. Mr. Sulu should have been captain. We always loved Uhura, and then they're soaking up for like 20 years. So by the time the movies come on, yeah, Shatner, goddamn you robbed me of my career. I could have been a star. I should have been the captain. Shut up, George. And Walter King has always had the most level-headed bunch. And I think we were getting credit for work we didn't do. Okay, so, there was an element of that, where they're getting people, but Walter's always been more level-headed than the whole bunch. He didn't even have. I'm not sure he had an agent, but he didn't have a contract. He was day to day. When he wasn't doing Star Trek, his agent was getting other gigs and other shows. In fact, let's see. Let me yakking about it. Call up IMDb and let's take a look. Let's see. What was Walter Koenig doing besides Star Trek? Let's skip down a bunch here. In the 63 to 65, just before that, he did 3 episodes of that, and there's 3 different characters. But the one that kind of got him the thing was something called an episode of The Boy Without a Country. He played Alexei Dubov. I've seen a clip of that, and that's where his the Russian accent coming from. And I think the same casting, Joe D'Agosto, the same casting director. So yeah, I know this kid can do a Russian. But he did a couple shows, but 1768, he had an episode of Mannix. And then he did get a bunch of work on Star Trek when he started, because, new kid, they gave him a lot of work for that, for that second season. And he did, usually they time the episodes with it, But he was in a big chunk, so I didn't have to do much work beyond that. But yeah, he did an episode of Mannix in 68, which is right in the middle of it all. And then from there in 70, he did an episode of Medical Center, did an episode of Virginian and Ironside in 71. So yeah, he did pretty good work after that. But let's go.
The one-headed yeoman women that showed up on the bridge.
Shell Nichols. I know she was doing work outside of Star Trek at the time, so let's troop that down here. Okay. 1966. Did thing Made in Paris, as uncredited. We did a couple episodes of Peyton Place in 66, an episode of Mr. Budwing. 2 episodes of, it was a 2-parter in Tarzan as Rowana. The Doctor, You've Got to Be Kidding. And then we got Star Trek. So yeah, she was getting some work out, And then she didn't, And let's get up to here to
Hunter still running when Next Gen was on?
I think so. Looks like it's George Takei.
Marina showed up on that. So.
Well, yeah, she getting work. Let's get down to George Takei here. Because of course, there's always, his extended stay on the Green Berets, which delayed his return back to Star Trek. And that's where Walter Koenig suddenly got a lot of work. But here, okay. George Takei, 1960, starting 66 up there. So he did a couple episodes of Wackiest Ship in the Army, the TV series version. There's Lieutenant Miko in 65, 66. He did a couple episodes of I Spy, 165, 166. Now, mind you, the second pilot, where No Man's Gone Before, was filmed in 65. They did a TV series of Mr. Roberts. He was on that one for a couple episodes. He did a Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea in 65, but getting into 66 here. Yeah, showed up on one of the Bob Hope specials. 66, did an episode of Walk Don't Run, episode of American Dream, did an episode of Mission Impossible, which is literally next door on the Desloo lot. Episode of Felony Squad in 67, episode of The Big Mouth and the Green Berets. We all know that story. Did an episode of It Takes a Thief, also 68. There's a Star Trek, and then an episode of The Courtship of Eddie's Father in 69, and episode of Bracken's World. So George Takei was around, right around quite a bit, too, So these guys weren't necessarily hanging on, waiting, the phone, waiting for Star Trek to come along. They, Let's just go straight to the original series then here. Oh yeah, Jimmy Doohan. Look at what he was doing between 66 and 69. He did. Oh, he had a recurring part on Peyton Place. Starting in 65 all the way through 67, he was on, he was on credit for much of it, but he was on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 4, 5, 26, 27. He did 28 episodes of Peyton Place. He did the Jigsaw as a building superintendent in 68. He did a Then Came Bronson in 69. He was on Daniel Boone for a couple of episodes, one in 69. He did an episode of Marcus Welby, MD in 69 as a police detective. An episode of the show Jericho in 66.
Okay, did you mention White to the bottom of the
I met on.
It was on an episode of that.
Jimmy?
No, not Jimmy.
I've gone past Jimmy. I know. I mentioned. He did a couple episodes of Iron Horse in 66. He did an episode of Blue Light in 66. Men Called Shenandoah in 66. He did a couple episodes of the FBI in 66. Did a movie in 66. And a couple episodes of Man from U.N.C.L.E. One of them in 66. So, yeah, Jimmy Doohan was busy, too. So these people were not, hogtied to Star Trek. Okay, they did get work outside of the show, even while Star Trek was running. Now after Star Trek, okay, are we talking Janice Rand? As far as that one, that one is a pretty sick tale. I mean, it's a combination of things. There was some movement that they felt Kirk would, shouldn't be tied down to one lady on the, the idea of, Janice being the unrequited love and then, the secretly Kirk's girlfriend. That we don't want to get them tied down like that. But there was also some pretty disgusting things. Somebody, the story as a producer or just a studio exec. I think it's probably a studio exec. Basically raped Grace Lee Whitney, or at least forced her into doing something she didn't want to do. And it was like, I think she was still in costume, still in the wardrobe at the time. And because she apparently didn't want to party with the guy, he got her fired from the show. Because she was signed as a regular. She wasn't just, the 13-week and that. No, she was signed as a series regular. She had the same, basically, the episode deal as Bill Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. She was supposed to be there the whole time. And the only person she ever told who it was Leonard Nimoy. And everyone else, maybe they knew the detail, but they never knew who it was. One thing she was adamant about, it was not Gene Roddenberry. No, Gene Roddenberry did not rape Grace Lee Whitney. He flirted with her constantly and shamelessly, and she'd laugh and shut him down every time. It was because she knew they never have gone anywhere. So it's kind of thing where why sometimes you find yourself flirting with somebody because it's never going to go anywhere. So what the hell? Go for it. Go and make the lame ass pass at somebody because they're not going to answer, and just have fun with it.
Yeah, I'm still showing 11 in the chat.
I'm showing 6 here, but I don't know what's going on. And I'm showing 7 over here. So yeah, they can't trust the numbers anymore. We've been at this for 3 hours. So yeah, Grace was done very wrong, but I think the fact that she came back to the movies, there should be enough evidence there that no, it was not Gene. It was not Gene Roddenberry. One, Gene didn't have to do that kind of crap. Okay, he was getting starlets left and right. Okay. he had Majel in a nearby apartment by, while cheating on his wife with her. I think he probably carried on with Nichelle Nichols longer than that too, but
yeah, the man was a horn dog.
yeah. Let's be kind and just say Gene liked life. He liked women. He wanted to live life, gobble it down with both hands, and he did. So he did not live his life at half speed. He went at it and
basically Captain Jack, but without
he was taking the approach of he didn't want to approach death lying quietly in the thing. He wanted to come screeching up, hair on fire, and slam into the graves. And wow, what a ride! That sort of thing. And that interview, there's some college thing, but some lady interviewing Roddenberry in his home. It was around the time of Next Generation starting up. He was still pretty up and mobile and pretty alert. And what was posted on YouTube was just the raw footage. So I got that and did a proper edit, because there's also the where it's the camera's just on him, and he's answering the questions. So. But then they cut back, and then because they only had the one camera, I guess, and so this behind, and so look at her when you see Roddenberry kind of over Roddenberry's shoulder. So I get footage of her asking the questions, and then the idea was cut back to answer the question. But of course, now it doesn't matter what he says, because so he's so they ask question, when was the first time you really got that? And he answered, no, the first time I masturbated. The first time I got my erection. And so he lewd. She took it. She laughed. She was laughing at. He's joking. He's not going to do anything. Come on. But he's all into the off-color comments on there. But so he's a saucy guy right up to the very end, I think. Yeah. But Gracie Whitney's got a book out. She put out a book about it. She talks about it briefly, but mostly it's about her life after Star Trek, which also wasn't pretty. Apparently she, got into drugs, and she was, at some point, the perils of a touch screen. I was trying to adjust the light on here and end up activating one of the things here. And I'm way back. What the hell? Hold on. Let's get that out of there. Get back to that. Okay, the chat is gone way off for me.
What?
Something happened with the chat on the StreamYards thing. It's like showing from hours ago. So, where are we at? See if I can jumpstart something here.
Hey, you're showing up.
Yeah, I'm showing up, but the comment section. There we go. Now we're caught up. Because I went back to back to 11:30. The comment about Al Lewis when he was. No, I remember I've seen the footage because I remember on Howard Stern's TV. Had a TV show for a while, and Al Lewis was a guest. And then went back to the time when Howard was being fined by the FCC for whatever, and Grandpa Al Lewis there, and he's talking about how, and he starts letting loose with a bunch of cuss words, and Howard's leaping, no, going for the microphone because they're gonna make it worse. And the way and the kind of freeze frame with everyone's it's like watching this Zapruder film. It's like, yeah. But tell you something, if you want an hour or two to kill, an hour and a half, let's dig up.
We're not going on.
No. I'm gonna post a link to my little master mashup edit of Trouble with Tribbles and Trials and Tribulations. Yeah.
That bit with Terry Burrell. Oh dear God.
Yeah.
I can remember that.
Let's get that up here. How many views we got on this here? Let's see, that's where I gotta go. Damn it. How many views has it gotten? You used to type somewhere in here it tells you how many views these things get, but yeah, let me get this post on here before too long. But yeah, spread that around. Let people know what their income would be, what their ordering, Patreon money would be going towards, so I can do more of this stuff. Yeah. Oh, the dashboard. That's what I want. Yeah, 53 views so far. The rest of it was like 9, 10. Nobody's looked at my story time. Oh, come on. I kind of liked how this came out, damn it. Here's another one.
Let me guess, you're being ghosted by YouTube.
No, just, nobody bothered with it. Because that's also, I post the thing like YouTube. I don't watch it there. I don't have to go to Patreon. But yeah, the second one is. Okay. Ah! Yeah, I found it. Okay.
And there's PJ.
Yeah, with a $5 super chat. Yeah, let's get over here and see what's going on here. Okay. But, okay. Now, I seem to recall sending some links out. Did I send them to a PJ?
I'm not sure.
Let's see. Yeah, I did. No, it's 14th. Okay, never mind.
Okay, so you didn't send one.
I'll send him one now. Why not? Okay. Nope, that's wrong one. Hold on, never mind. Forgot.
What?
Hold on, because I sent him a copy of the link to the damn story. Okay. There we go. Let's try that now. So let's see if I can do it from the other end here. Oh, dang. Can't jump on. Oh, well. I tried. And actually, yeah, and how long have we been at this for now?
Since 11 something.
Yeah, it's been going for over 3 hours now, so I think it probably is time to wrap this up, I think, for now. So, I'm not sure if Mecca's still alive at this point. Yeah, I think it may be time to wrap this up for the day. So
yeah, she's not live anymore.
Yeah. It's still showing you might be doing something. Well, no, it's saying live, so yeah. Anyway, I think I exhausted most of the subjects, and I definitely couldn't get the helmet built in a timely fashion. So yeah. Okay, well, let's wrap us up here then. And again, PayPal, Patreon down below, and and thanks for those who did super chats. They go to a good cause, namely, us eating. So, and we'll see if we can do this again later. So, bye.